Don't want to say anything. Can't see it, though. You can't see it. You can't see what I'm wearing. But, of course, I wear my Knicks gear. This is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Talk, brought to you by the mighty FanDuel. It's FanDuel.com, #1 sportsbook in America. I live in Nickland. Oh, we will talk about the Knicks in a little bit. We're going to talk about the Giants. We're going to talk about the rumors, the speculation, the innuendos. I talked about this last week that I've gotten a few text messages from a person who I respect, a person that I know when he gives us information, it is normally correct. And it's, I told you guys, it's a diatribe. He gave us a literal diatribe on what he heard happened with the Joe Schoen extension. Dun, dun, dun. And we're going to read it. We are going to read. I stand corrected. I told you Knicks in 4. WK, I said Knicks in 4, man. Knicks in 4, my hair. It's just not right on that side. But I told you Knicks in 4. You didn't listen. Nobody listens. But we're going to read these emails. We're going to read this information that we have in regards to the Joe Schoen, because he even starts out with let me get to the messages here. He even starts out at one point in time. Yeah, let's see. Where is it at here? He even starts out by saying immediately, and I love it because I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it immediately because it says right in the beginning. The very first sentence says, John Harbaugh did not make the decision on the Joe Schoen extension. And it literally goes on for like 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs it goes on with. I told you guys, Knicks in 4. Knicks in 4. You know what? After that first quarter, you knew the game was over. You knew it was done. It was just. I was like, it's going to be garbage time in the second quarter, because you knew the Knicks took the heart out of the Cavs almost immediately. Read it, damn it! No, AJ, I have to build suspense. You want me to read? Okay, I'll read it. Here we go. John Harbaugh did not make the decision on the Joe Schoen extension. Ownership did. And then it literally goes on for paragraphs. You think he had any influence on this decision on Joe? I'm going to read the whole email, the whole text message literally goes through everything. It goes through the entire process. And like I said, this is a guy that when he sends me something, I would say 98% of the time it has been correct. 98% of the time we have gotten information for him, and either whatever he said was going to happen happened, or it turned out you came into the press and then all of a sudden people would be like, well, yeah, that's yeah. People would be like, yeah, that's what happened. So do you guys want me to read it? You guys want me to read it? You want me to read the first paragraph, or you want me to read the whole thing at once? How do you want me to read this information that we have here? There is 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs of information in reference to the John Harbaugh Joe Schoen extension. I know the suspense is killing you. That's what I'm fucking supposed to. I'm supposed to build up suspense. I'm supposed to build it up so people are like, I cannot wait to hear more information about this contract, about what happened. I'll read the first. I'm not even going to wait. I was going to wait till like 11:30, but I'm going to read the first paragraph of, I shouldn't even say the first text message he sent. Now he cleaned up the messages. He cleaned them up a little bit because of the fact that they were all put together. Go paragraph by paragraph. Okay. I will go paragraph by paragraph. He cleaned it up because, he wanted to remain anonymous. I understand, because he was supposed to officially retire this year and he didn't. So he wants to wait till more people are here. No, I don't want to wait till more people are here. I just want to read the first paragraph. How about that? Not really, because who is really running the team? It gets into that a little bit here. I'm going to read the first paragraph because there is 4 different paragraphs. And he wrote, and I love my brother. But he literally writes in fucking paragraphs. I love my brother. And he knows how much I love him. But it's like, I have friends that are serial texters that just text. This guy, when he texts, you got to wait. He'll send you this long text and you have to wait. I'm going to read the first one. Joe is just a fall guy, people. Now he's still telling me, though, it's only a 2-year extension. I don't know if it's come out yet, but he's still saying it's a 2-year extension. Here we go. I'm going to read the first paragraph because the next 3 paragraphs are kind of interesting too. Okay, here we go. I should have worn my glasses. Should have brought my fucking glasses. John Harbaugh did not make the decision on Joe Schoen's extension. Ownership did. There is a growing narrative that Joe Schoen somehow saved, and I love him because he puts it in quotes, saved Joe Schoen's job or personally pushed through Joe Schoen's extension. But that's simply not true, and it does not reflect how power structure works in the NFL. Head coaches can absolutely influence and provide input, especially a coach with John Harbaugh stature, but final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. Okay. Now you would think that would sum it all up. You would think it would end there. And I thought the same thing. But then no. There's more messages. There's more text messages. So no. I thought it would end right fucking there. And I thought it would be done. Because this gentleman who gives us this information he's very plugged into the NFL. And he's also very plugged in not just to the Giants, but to other organizations as well. And he says, look at Harbaugh's longtime relationship with Eric DeCosta and previously Ozzie Newsome. Harbaugh has always operated in a collaborative model with the front office. He and the GM work together, sharing roster vision, discussing players, and aligning organizational goals. But ownership, led by Steve Biscotti, always had final decision and say on major decisions. That's how the Baltimore Ravens became a successful organization. So it gives us a little bit more insight because everyone's like, well, he reports directly to the owner. Well, no, from what I'm hearing, it was a collaborative effort, even with Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta, who Eric DeCosta is one of Harbaugh's best friends. They live right next to each other. So I found that interesting that he is talking about the fact that he's literally talking about the fact that the final decision, he even says it clearly on the bottom, especially with a coach with Harbaugh's stature, but final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. So what does that tell you immediately? Here we go, though. And then you're like, well, John Harbaugh is just a puppet. He's just a man on a string. He is just a guy that just, he's just that guy. John Harbaugh's voice matters. When a Super Bowl winning head coach speaks, ownership listens. His opinion likely is carrying significant weight in internal decisions and discussions. But influence and authority are not the same thing. Get that? And I like the way he put that influence and authority are not the same thing. John Harbaugh can help shape the roster, impact the draft priorities, and build a football culture, but he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. The power remains at the owner's office, the power remains in the owner's office. So I like the point where he says in the beginning, there's a growing narrative that Harbaugh somehow saved Joe Schoen's job or personally pushed through the Joe Schoen's extension, but that's simply not true. Ownership, final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. Thought that was interesting. Now, you're probably wondering, Tim, we are wondering, why would ownership do this? Why would ownership go out and get a guy with John Harbaugh stature and then team him with the likes of Joe Schoen? You would ask that question. I mean, that would be the first question that I asked. Second question I would ask is, how many fucking likes do we have? We have 19 likes. We should have 20 likes. But the second question I would have, why would fucking ownership do this? What was in the mindset of ownership? Oh, there's an answer to that. There's another text message. There's an answer to that. The Schoen extension was about ownership's betting on the partnership, not surrendering power. The simplest explanation is usually the right one. The Giants ownership group believes Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh can succeed together. Harbaugh wasn't saved. Schoen was not saved. He says it a second time. Schoen was not saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. We have heard that term with the Giants many times. That's why they hung on too long with Jerry Reese. That's why they hung on too long with Dave Gettleman. That's why they hung on too long with Brian Daboll. It is about stability. I'm not going to wonder if you got a raise. That Joe Ferris, that I'm not going to find out. But they chose stability. I love that before. I'm going to read that last text again. The Schoen extension was about ownership betting on the partnership, not surrendering power. The simplest explanation is usually the right one. The Giant ownership group believes Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh can succeed together. Harbaugh wasn't saved. Schoen was not saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. There you go. You take it for what it's worth. You believe it. You don't believe it. It's fine. Like I said, this guy is basically, I don't think he's really, even the one time he was wrong. Even the one time he was wrong, he really wasn't wrong. He just didn't get it. He just didn't get 100% right. I still say they should have had Coughlin as GM. What did I miss? I read all the text messages. That's what you missed. Should I read it for the people that should we just read it in its entirety? I think I'll do that before we get more to the chat. I know AJ, stability has worked out so well for the past 15 years. I agree 100%. But let's read it from top to bottom. Let's read every one of these fucking messages, top to bottom. We're going to do it one last time. Now, again, this is from somebody who knows people that knows people that knows people that, like I said, he's given us information before and he's been right almost every single time. John Harbaugh we're going to start this from the top. John Harbaugh did not make the decision on Joe Schoen's extension. Ownership did. There's a growing narrative that Harbaugh somehow saved Schoen's job or personally pushed through Schoen's extension, but that simply does not reflect how the NFL power structure works. Head coaches can absolutely influence and provide input, especially a coach with Harbaugh stature, but final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. Look at Harbaugh's longtime relationship with DeCosta and Newsome with the Baltimore Ravens. Harbaugh has always operate in a collaborative model with the front office. He and the GM work together, sharing roster visions, discussing players, aligning organizational goals, but ownership led by Steve Piscotty always had final say on major leadership decisions. That's how successful organizations function. Harbaugh's voice matters. When a Super Bowl winning coach speaks, Ownership does listen. His opinion carried significant weight in the internal discussions, but influence and authority are not the same thing. John Harbaugh can help shape the roster, impact the draft, and build the football culture, but he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. That power remains in the ownership's office. The Schoen extension was about ownership betting on a partnership, not surrendering power. The simplest explanation is usually the right one. The Giants ownership group believes Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh can succeed together. Schoen wasn't saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. So there you go. There you go. I mean, like you said, you could take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that rumor is true. I'm not saying that it isn't something we probably haven't heard before. I'm not saying that we're sitting here saying that it's earth-shattering, but I am saying this. It is, I mean, I believe it. I believe it. But I also believe this gentleman explicitly. But do here. What's that? Oh, I got that. But to me, it kind of tells you that, yes, Harbaugh has input, Harbaugh has influence, but the final decision to hire and fire people at the executive level or the operations level is not up to John Harbaugh. It is still, and it's still in lies with the Giant ownership. And I think we kind of thought that before. We never thought that. I never thought that Chris or John Mara would, in its totality, give up organizational power to to anyone outside the organization. I mean, you basically did it with George Young, but George Young was different. George Young came in as a general manager, and his job would be to run football operations. So when John Harbaugh comes in, you're literally giving it to a guy who we know has the authority, but we have understanding that once again, the final say is still going to sit with the Maras. I personally don't think that's earth-shattering, but I do think it's interesting that if you believe the rumor, if you believe it, and that's the thing, you're gonna have to decide for yourself. If you literally believe this rumor, then if you believe it, then yeah, then that's what it is. Then that's where we go from. Pat Leonard's been totally wrong about everything. When we told people, and I love it because T-Brad called me yesterday. My sinuses, it stopped rain. It didn't rain. Rain for 3 fucking days, and then the sun comes out, and the sinuses go crazy. T-Brad called me yesterday, and because I was telling people, we heard this rumor that Joe Schoen was getting an extension before or after the draft, and we heard it over the last couple of weeks. And T-Brad was like, "No, Tim, you gave us that rumor months ago." I was like, well, I didn't really remember, and I was like, "It did?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "You were the first." Just like you did an entire video where you even said, "This is just a rumor. Don't shoot the messenger." And I had to go back. And yeah, T-Brad was right. Newsom, next president, you talking about? Can the Knicks beat the Spurs? The Knicks can beat the Thunder. I got a little concerned about the Spurs. I got a little bit concerned about the Spurs. I love their little continuity kick when we have been so bad for a decade. But this is the thing, and this is kind of when we were talking about, like when James Dolan gave up power to the Knicks, gave up power. He gave it up to Pat Riley. And he basically, not Pat Riley, excuse me. He gave it up to, I'm not going to say his name. Phil Jackson. Gave it up to Phil Jackson. And Phil Jackson, though, was running the front office. He wasn't the coach. He picked the coach. He did everything else, but he was in charge of all executive decisions and hiring from his staff to the coaching staff and to the draft and everything else. And we know that did not work out well. So the Giants still trying to maintain continuity from what it talks about. It really looks like that they are sitting there again saying, okay, we have a head coach, but we are going to give the perception that it is unlimited power, but to like it said in the influence that, I mean, excuse me, like it said in the message where it said, I like that point where they said influence, but influence and authority, or total authority, are not the same thing. John Harbaugh can shape the roster, impact the draft parties, and build a football culture, but he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. That power remains with the ownership's office. I'm telling you. A lot of talk around ESPN about the Giants grabbing OBJ considering wide receivers injury. I don't know. What do you think? No, I'm saying no. We're talking about this. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Zach Attack says Giants need to look at what James Dolan did, step back from football operations. Yes, but the problem, this is what's interesting about that. They didn't do that with a coach, Zach. They did that with a general manager and a president of basketball operations. If you literally go through the Giants hierarchy on their website, John Harbaugh is just listed as the head coach. And yes, I understand his deal has him reporting directly to the owner, but then again, ownership seems to have executive decision. Get well soon, Mr. Merrill. I agree, but those text messages are actually consistent with behavior we've seen with the Giants ownership since Merrill took over. That's when he told me this. Like I said, when he initially started talking to me about this, and then he started texting me, I wasn't overly surprised. I wasn't overly shocked. I did not sit there and think to myself, oh, this can't be right. I actually sat there and thought to myself that this really does make sense. And to your point, it kind of sounds like what the Giants have been doing for years. And I love it when he wrote, head coaches can absolutely have influence and provide input, especially a coach with Harbaugh's stature, but final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. That tells you something right there. And then when he got into the long-term relationship with Eric DeCosta and Ozzie Newsome, Harbaugh has always operated in a collaborative model with front office. He and the GM work together, sharing roster, sharing vision, discussing player fits, aligning organizational goals. But ownership, led by Steve Piscotty, always had final say on major leadership decisions and how the successful organization, and that's how a successful organization functions. I believe it. What was the point of keeping Joe? Here we go. You want to hear Dark Simeon? You want to hear the point? Well, you want to hear the point of keeping Joe? The Schoen extension was about ownership betting on the partnership, not surrendering power. The simplest explanation is usually the right one. The Giants ownership group believes that Schoen and Harbaugh can succeed together. Schoen wasn't saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. That's the word we always hear with the Giants. They don't like to go outside the box. They don't like to rock the boat. They don't like anything that does not, or even sometimes in the perception of stability. That's what this is about. And to everyone's point, like I said, Harbaugh is only the Baltimore Ravens have only had two general managers in their history, Ozzie Newsome and DeCosta. That's stability. The general managers always worked in lockstep with John Harbaugh. That's stability. But at the end of the day, when it came to internal processes in reference to the office itself, that decisions were still made at the upper level. And with Harbaugh reporting to ownership, it just shows me even more that ownership is truly making the executive decisions. And I spoke to someone that I worked with in Tampa, and I spoke to someone in Miami, and they said the same thing, that they have never heard of a head coach, even with John Harbaugh's stature, who had final total say in reference to the executive offices of an NFL franchise. Good morning, BP. Everything's going well. So yes, tell Mara to arrest Charles Oakley instead of Bartai Barband. John Mara said it. He likes the job Joe Schoen has done with the draft. Tim hating on Pat Leonard because he won't come on the show. Yeah, damn fucking right. You don't come on the show, you're a dick. Before it was the fact that he didn't come on the show because we didn't invite him. But now we've invited him and he hasn't come on the show. So no, I don't like Pat Leonard. I never met him. I mean, he could be a nice guy. Knowing me, he'll come on the show, we'll fucking hit it off. But you know, but I'm still sticking to my guns. Arsenal domination. A big shout out to the Arsenal. I guess they're what is it, Dom? They're the Premier League champs. We're the Premier League champs, mate. Throw another ship in the Barbie. Yeah, actually the problem is I have this steroid spray, and I didn't take it for 3 days because it was raining, and I felt great. And then I took it, and I'm like, sorry, I don't want to get it. The problem with Mara being a GM is there's more than just drafting. There's free agency. There's everything else. I mean, I agree. James Stein, what's up, Big James? It is what it is. Giants ownership did what it thought was best for the franchise. End of story. By the way, good morning, Tim. Good morning, James Stein. Slider says, I heard from Tim, and I think also from I heard from Tim. I think Jay also from Jay Glazers. Those two, I don't doubt. Listen, I'm gonna just read parts of it again because I think everyone. No, I'm not selling property. Why does everyone text me saying, are you selling property? No, if I want to sell property, I'd fucking sell it. We're just gonna skim through the messages this time for the people that are just joining. These are text messages I received middle of last week in reference to what went down with the Joe Schoen extension. Now, this guy has told this shit before, and he's been right almost every single time for the last 5 years about literally everything. Harbaugh did not make the decision on Joe's extension. Ownership did. There's a growing narrative that somehow Harbaugh saved Joe's job or personally pushed through Schoen's extension, but it simply does not reflect how NFL power structure works. Head coaches can absolutely influence and provide input, especially a coach with Harbaugh's stature, but final authority on the front office decision belongs to ownership. Then it gets into looking at his relationship with DaCosta and Newsom. He always operated in a collaborative model, and he and the GM worked together, sharing rosters, visions, discussing organizational goals. But ownership, led by Steve Piscotty, always had final to say on major leadership decisions. Harbaugh's voice matters when a Super Bowl winning coach ownership listens. He carries significant weight in internal discussions, but influence and authority are not the same thing. Harbaugh can shape the roster, impact the draft, and build a football culture, but he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. That power remains in the office. The Schoen extension was about ownership betting on a partnership, not a power structure. The simplest explanation is usually the right one. The Giants ownership group believed that Schoen and Harbaugh could succeed together. Schoen wasn't saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. Boom! I wish I had an explosion sound effect. There you go. Let's go Knicks! That's all I had. If the Knicks win it all, is Brunson the best Knick ever? No. You have to get another championship. Because Monroe, Frazier, and Willis have two. Continuity is the only good thing if you have the right people in place. Continuity is the wrong thing. The people in place, bad management, hanging around too long. Joe Spano, we always think we have the right people. You're right. Stability, the strength the strength to stand or endure. Listen, I'm going to say this. I think everything that text message is 100% true. Text messages. I think everything that he told me and he sent to me is 100% truthful. I don't think that he is wrong, and I don't think there's anything that he said there that's earth-shattering or shocking. But I think some people think, and some people may have the misconception that what's going on there, or what's going on behind the scenes with John Harbaugh, is anything that he has this total power. And I think he does have the majority of the power when it comes to the final decisions on personnel, coaching staff, and such as that. But I don't think he has the total power when it comes to upper management, when it comes to the inner workings of the office. I still think that, and I agree with him. I still think that falls on the the ownership itself in reference to people in that office. It goes back to the Giants' Achilles heel overrating our players and employees. I think the Giants are done doing half measures. I don't think they're doing half measures. I do think, like I said, and I understand it. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability. We've always heard for years, you can't fire a head coach after every 3 years, 2 years. You can't fire a general manager every 2-3 years. But somehow we do that. And somehow what I'm thinking right now with this is, if you take a look at it, it's the Mara way. And Chris Mara's probably been very tight with John Mara. It's the Mara way to sit there and say, we need to show stability. What dirt does Joe Schoen have on ownership? Joe Ferries, after it's been established that they are not in time to cut bait. Evans says, we haven't seen Schoen and Harbaugh have a season together. This is based on free agency, the draft decision, stability. Is this case is fine. I like I said, he's also told me that it's a 2-year extension. I mean, I don't know if we've gotten the extension details even out yet. I don't even think we've got the extension details out yet, but I'm hearing that it's a 2-year extension. And I mean, I could see that. It makes sense to give him 2 years, because then you have a 3-year deal. You got John Harbaugh on a 5-year contract. So if Harbaugh decides a couple years in that it's just not working out the way he thought it was going to work out, he can still cut bait and stuff. 2 years left on his deal. Historically, you need to bring a coach and GM at the same time. This off-schedule stuff never does work. But to the Giants' point, see, my thing is still this, and will always be this. You have a head coach, you have a general manager that failed. He failed on multitudes of his drafts. He's failed on multitudes of his free agency. He's failed on multitudes of the contracts in regards to trades. He's won 7 games. He in the last out of the last 34, we've won 7. This is the guy that should have been shit canned. But it's the stability of the Giant organization that we always see that always makes us upset. BP says, you said in January that your hair show Schoen was getting an extension. And if it's true, you would lose it. Yeah. I mean, well, I didn't remember. Like I said, I didn't remember any of that until the call with T-Brad on Sunday. I didn't remember I said that, but then I went back and BP, you're right. There was a video, and I even said, I even watched the video, and I don't even watch my own videos. I said, don't shoot the messenger, because this is what people are telling me. And I even said, I hope to God it's wrong, and you are correct. I did say in the video, but I don't think I said it so succinctly as you did, that I would lose my shit if it happened. I'm not gonna lie. I did say that. But you summed it up so much nicer. So you have been right for months now. I wasn't right. And I tell this to people all the time. I wasn't right. I was just reporting on what someone who we trust told me. There is a difference between being right and just giving out information that was given to us. And like I said, I was, when he gave me that information, you are correct. I did say I would lose my shit if Joe Schoen got extended. I still believe ownership at least talked to Harbs about getting the Oh no, it says it right here that they did. It says it right here. It says it right here, but it also says he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. That power remains in ownership. It even says that his opinion carries significant weight in the internal discussions, but influence and authority are not the same thing. So no, you are 100% right. There was an input. So, I mean, it really depends how much ownership loves Joe Schoen. And we've seen kind of in regards to how much they do love him, especially John Harbaugh. But I don't know if John Harbaugh loves Schoen or John Harbaugh just loves stability. Last week, I think we could start Jameis for team unity. What kills me about this whole, not that I want to get into that, but you know what kills me about that whole thing? True, like, football people sat there, and if you watch, and I'm not even a Boomer Esiason fan, but Boomer Esiason came out and laid it down 100% correct. Let me see if I can find the Boomer Esiason clip. Here we go. Let me see here. Because this is from a football perspective. And I've said the same thing. I have more problems with Abdul Carter did because of what he violated.
Real error on the part of Abdul Carter, not on the part of Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart was asked to do something to introduce the president of the United States. How many people get an opportunity to do something like that, regardless of who the president is? You may have hated Barack Obama. You may have hated Joe Biden. And some guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like those presidents, just like other guys didn't want to go to the White House because they didn't like President Trump. But to put this out like a child on social media is ridiculous. And then when I heard, we spoke man to man. Yeah, there was only one man on that call, and that was Jackson Dart. You were a man who was late to meetings. You were a man who didn't live up to your draft choice. You're a man who wanted to wear number 56. And by the way, your idol, number 56, has introduced Donald Trump numerous times. So I don't want to hear this. So he made another just boneheaded error by going to social media.
That would be, of course, Abdul Carter. And then even Lawrence Tynes, who's a kicker. Who's a kicker? And everyone knows what I feel about kickers. The locker room is a sacred place because it brings together everyone, all walks of lives, and the belief for one common goal. Calling a team out publicly for his political views to get attention is really nasty. I mean, does that not wrap it up? Does that not just kind of sum it up right then and there, that you don't call out the people in your locker room? I mean, it's a crazy thought process to think that some people don't understand what Abdul Carter violated. Doesn't understand what he violated in regards to the locker room itself. You never go outside the locker room, ever. Because the locker room is that one place that you're all supposed to be in on. You're supposed to be together. And there are so many people that hate each other in the locker room, which is fine. You can hate someone in the locker room. There was plenty of people I hated in the locker room. There was people that probably hated me. I highly find that unusual. But anyone that truly play, and you could agree with what Dart did, you could disagree with Dart did, doesn't matter, because that's your political opinion and that's his political opinion. It doesn't fucking matter. Everyone can have their own opinion, and that's the same thing with Abdul Carter. You can have your own opinion, but when you publicly go against a teammate and then said, well, we had a call and it's all good now, we talked, it's all good. Well, why didn't you do that? Joe Spano, I sent you the link. Why didn't you just do that ahead of time? Why did you do that instead of taking that moment and putting it out on social media? Because you already know half the country is going to feel this way and the other half of the country is going to feel that way. You know, and then you have the giant content creating nation. They don't get it. A large majority of it, giant content creators don't fucking get it because they never played in high school or Pop Warner or anything. And their thought process is, well, you know what? I'm going to take my political views and my political beliefs, and I'm going to push them on everyone else. And now I'm not. And then you see these people, I've been a Giant fan for 50 years, and I'm never following this team again. Why? What do you gain out of that? What do you gain out of someone who has their own political opinion that you disagree with, that you have to sit there and say, well, I am not going to like this team anymore or this player anymore because I don't align with his political beliefs? And then you take the moral high ground and say, well, he's a pedophile, he's this, he's that. Okay, well, that's your opinion, and Jackson Dart has his own opinion. Just like Abdul Carter has his own opinion. And you could say that Jackson Dart made this giant centric because he was trying to, go rooting for the Giants, going, root, Giants, root, go, go Big Blue, go Big Blue, go. Or maybe he's just a 22-year-old kid who was asked to do something and he did it because of the fact that it's his political opinion. But he didn't sit there and tell Abdul Carter, well, you're a Muslim, so I don't respect what you do. He didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. Joe, I'm still talking about this crap with Abdul Carter and
frick him.
But
he violated the sanctity of the locker room. That's the bottom line. You covered it so well last week. I mean, and you mentioned cliques within locker rooms. There's a ton of cliques. Not everybody's buddies. You got the religious clique. You got this clique. You got the party clique. You got the single guys. There's all these groups. And as long as they don't take things outside the locker room or within the locker room, they don't foist their ideals on them too much, everybody's cool. It's all about going out winning on Sunday.
Did you ever see the movie Any Given Sunday?
Yes.
Parts of that movie are just blatant Hollywood. Yeah. But there are portions of that movie, especially the locker room scenes, where it's true that you had cliques. You had different groups. You had people that like the heavy metal music. You like the people with the country music. You got the people that do this. You got the people that do X. And it was just, it's almost a locker room divided. But on Sunday and during the games, you all came together. But whatever happened in that fucking locker room, you never took it outside that. And that's why like I said, I'm not a Boomer. I played the Boomer Esiason clip. I'm not a Boomer Esiason fan, but he made sense where you just say, listen, you don't do it.
Right. You got a problem? Pull me aside. Man, I don't like that you like Trump. Okay. Right. And Dart's going to say, well, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't like the fact that you don't. And right. You move on. You're not buddies. Play football.
But I got to get to this because someone sent me this because I would never go on TikTok. I fucking got a hard enough time making fucking X work.
You're not an 18-year-old. You're not a 24-year-old girl. So.
But giant fangirl or Adriana, who's on Bleav.
That's hard to believe.
She posted something on TikTok, and I was laughing because someone's like, yeah, she would get like 1,000 views, and then she got like 200,000 views because of this post. And I laughed though because I think this post this video kind of sums up everything that's wrong with a certain segment of giant content creators. So I want to play this. Can I play this?
Okay.
Hold on. Let me put it on this side. I think it plays better if I go on this side. So I got to play this because then it also I wasn't going to listen to it until I was on the show, but I had to listen to it. Like I listened to it like 20 minutes ago or 20 minutes before I came on. And I was like, oh, I got to play this. I got to play this because this sums up the stupidity, the arrogance, and a little bit of the racism that exists within the giant content creators, because she says some things and I'm like, what? It's like, what? And I can see why people are blasting her, because it's kind of like she was guessing. She guesses at one point what Jackson Dart is, like where he comes from, what his family is. And when I watch her in this video, you could do the same thing. You could say, okay, I'm assuming she's Jewish from Long Island, probably drives an Audi. We already know she got fired from her job, and that's why she became a content creator. Husband's probably in finance. You could do the same thing that she did to Jackson Dart, but then it would be a stereotype.
Right.
Let's.
The Giants quarterback Jackson Dart just
First of all, that voice.
Yes, that's
First of all, the voice. Oh my God! Ow! Give it to me! Oh my God! I
Here's the funny part. I think she's Italian.
I don't know what the hell she is.
Yeah, Italian from Long Island, Jewish girl from Long Island.
Yeah, but
you can interchange them.
But
same nose, same
I'm
voice.
just saying that is the perception that
Right.
people would have of her.
introduced Donald Trump at whatever fucking rally he's at today. And, you know, on draft night, I didn't want to say this out loud because
I love this. I didn't want to say it out loud because I probably sound like a racist and I was stereotyping and I'm a little prejudiced, but I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it out loud now.
wanted to give him a chance and an opportunity. And I felt like I was judging him when I didn't have any facts. My assumption, what I didn't say on draft night was, here we go. We got another fucking white boy from Utah. I bet he's a Mormon and whatever. And
First of all, he's not a Mormon. He's Christian.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, but you know, but to the point, it's like, this is what you were thinking. So when the Giants draft someone, Joe, I didn't sit there when Abdul Carter was taken third overall and go, well, he's a lazy Muslim. That's my thought process. I didn't even think of his religion. I didn't think of his color of his skin. You know what I thought to myself? You took a guy third overall that was a failed off the ball linebacker for 2 years that had 25.7 missed tackle percentage during that time. And he was only moved to the defensive line because Penn State lost a guy in the first and the third round that the year prior. And they wanted to use his speed, his religion, the color of his skin, and anything else never even came to my mind. Never even a thought process.
I didn't think about Jackson Dart's upbringing at all.
No.
I wondered, geez, I wonder if this guy we're picking at 25 is the right quarterback. I have some reservations about Lane Kiffin preparing quarterbacks for the NFL and a number of other issues. That's what I was worried about. There ain't that many football players that I blatantly don't like for what they do off the field. I can give you a few. I give you one in particular. I don't like Ray Caruth very much for what he did off the field. Beyond that, most guys I'm okay with.
When you try to murder people, that's wrong.
Right.
But
There's a guy. I think we can all get behind not liking him for what he did off the field. But for a guy going to introduce the president, regardless of how you feel about our president, there's no reason not to like him as a football player.
Right. But hold on though.
look, everyone, you can enjoy your religion, whatever. I just
So
that's not the point of the conversation.
Just so dismissive. You can enjoy your religion or whatever, but if you don't follow my religion and my opinions, you don't fucking matter to me.
That's not bigoted at all.
No, that's not racist. That's not racist at all.
It's
The point
bigoted.
of this is that I had a feeling that night that he was a Trump supporter, and there was nothing really.
But why would it matter if you had a feeling that night that he was a Trump supporter? What does that have to do with him throwing the football 35 yards? Or being able to read a defense, or be able to scramble, or be able to go 4-8. Now, this is also the same woman that took pictures with Jackson Dart at training camp and looked like she was about to wet herself when she was standing next to this guy. But all of a sudden, he's that Mormon, the white. I love it. The white boy. I love. You know what I love, Joe? Because we're white people. We can talk about this. I love white people. I love white people because they're just, everything is like, because all of a sudden they're just like, they got this street cred. You know, it's this white boy Mormon. Even though
I'll tell you, if you are from Long Island, there's a lot of heavy street cred around here to be
a lot
earned.
of street cred, man. She's got a lot. You know what? I was in Long Island the other day and I was trying to, dance between the Crips and the Bloods. Or was it Macy's and Saks? I don't know, but I was. I know what it was. But let's finish this because I just got to get through this because I want to get back to the Joe Schoen thing.
Really, that backed it up for me. I didn't really have any proof. I just felt it, but
What proof? You didn't have any proof. What? Why do you need proof? This is someone that's supposed to be a giant content creator and a giant supporter, but she needs to get proof that
I'm not going to break down how he reads defenses, but I'll break down where he goes to church on Sunday and that he's a Trump supporter. Because I guess maybe when the NFL expands, she'll be a partner in team number 33, and it'll be an all liberal locker room. Good luck finding 53 of anybody in any NFL team that agree on everything.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
But I didn't want to judge without knowing any facts.
I didn't want to judge, but now I'm going to judge.
He was posting about Charlie Kirk, which I even saw some absurd Democrats posting about it. So I thought,
first of all, what he posted about Charlie Kirk was he felt sorry for the family. He felt sorry for his 2 children and his wife.
What did his children do besides being born?
Right,
they didn't do anything wrong.
But
they lost their dad.
They lost his dad, and he didn't even say anything political at the Trump rally. He just introduced the man, but that's what he talked about with Charlie Kirk. So to her point, it's a good thing that Charlie Kirk got shot. It's a good thing, because of the fact that I don't believe in his political beliefs. So him going off and giving his condolences to the wife and the children who just lost their husband because he was murdered on film, that doesn't matter.
She's very well. Clearly, I don't listen to her because I can't get past the voice. I got to be honest.
But hold on. Let's get. We got to get through this.
All right, maybe he's not really, that guy. I'm done. I'm done with Jackson Dart. I've got 1 foot out on the Giants, and if you are done with Jackson Dart because of his religious beliefs, because of political beliefs, and you are done with the Giants become that, get the fuck out.
Wow.
Get the fuck out. You are a fucking moron. You are an idiot. You're not really a fan. We know you're doing it just to make fucking money. You don't have any football knowledge. You don't have any football takes. And you're like, you're going to be out because of half the locker room and your head coach are Trump supporters. You shouldn't be following the team. You shouldn't be doing anything for the team. You should never go to a team event again because your political beliefs trump everything else in reference to just playing the fucking game. Because last time I checked, football is just a sport. Football is not life. Football is supposed to be a diversion
from all of this other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously, she's not going to like any form of entertainment because there isn't one team in one sport where nobody's a conservative Republican and Trump supporter. There isn't one movie or television show being made where one of the persons playing a role of some type that you may like is a conservative or Trump supporter. If you go into any room with 10 people, more than likely, 5 are going to be here and 5 are going to be here. We've seen by popular vote, it's won by a couple of percent. So it's not like 90 are here and 10 are here. So wherever she goes to find her entertainment, she's going to find people that don't align with her point of view. So maybe she should just not be entertained and not follow anything.
Team supports Democrats, please put it in the comments because I'm pretty sure.
I love it. She even says, this I was waiting because you were very astute. Whatever team supports Democrats, put it in the chat because
I'm going to root for another team this year. Between the way the Giants have handled the Steve Tisch thing and are openly supporting basically a pedophile.
First of all, this is the thing that bugs me about liberals like this sometimes. The emails in Steve Tisch are apprehensible, but because he's trolling for women, he's paying for women, he's getting hooky. It's illegal. It's illegal. It's immoral.
Right.
And none of those emails were any of these women underage. They were even the one woman that was kind of like, well, dude, you kind of are going off the fucking deep end. And I know it's shocking to her that rich people, billionaires, even millionaires, some of them pay for sex.
Man, they pay for everything.
I mean, I know that's stunning and it's shocking because, when you live in Long Island and I still think she's Jewish and you're probably driving an Audi and your husband's in finance, that there's no bad in the world. No one does disgusting things. I don't want to tell you. I could tell you stories about being in strip clubs with NBA players, especially in Buckhead and Atlanta, especially in the late 90s.
And they had the best strip clubs in the day, Tim.
That I can
Full
never,
club, baby.
I could never tell you those stories because they're just as, some of the things that went on there were just as interesting and disgusting that you saw in those Tish emails. But yes, Tish is disgusting. Tish should be gross. I think that when you pay for sex or something like that, I don't think you should be an NFL owner. I think that entirely, but you can't call him a pedophile because there's nothing in the email that say any of the women were underage.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. There were statements about working women or not working women. That was it.
Right. Yes. And there's a lot of emails about it, but like I said, they just like to throw out words. But she's going to go root for another team. But then I love it because someone sent me a thing. I think it was yesterday. She did a Giant video.
Okay. Well, she must have forgot. But I do defy her to find amongst these 32 NFL owners, because it's a very small club, finding that liberal Democrat owner. Good luck. I just don't think you're out there.
Good luck, because most billionaires, except for Soros, are not usually, they're usually conservative. Because
they like to keep as much of their money as they can as opposed to giving it out. It's kind of the way it is.
Going to another team, Jackson Dart is a white boy Mormon from Utah, and she didn't want to say that because that would probably make her sound racist. Oh, but she said it.
And now their quarterback, whoever gave him that advice, like the thing is, if you want to support Donald Trump at this point, based on everything that he's done, do it in quiet. You're the starting quarterback.
Do it in quiet. Do it in quiet, Joe. You are not allowed to have an opinion because we're going to put you in a camp.
Right.
Do it in quiet. I don't want to hear from you except if you have the opinion I agree with. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
I could say these things, Joe. Don't worry, because I don't care.
No, I mean, you're not going to get any argument from me. I mean, I've never been high on her work or whatever you call it.
I wouldn't even call it work. But let's just finish this out.
For the New York Giants, and your star wide receiver hates Donald Trump, and he's been very open about that on Twitter. And for you to just disregard any of that.
So because you have a different opinion than I do, Joe, I have to give up my opinion so I can play football with you.
Yeah.
For the love of God, can she just, like I said in Clint Eastwood, don't go away, mad, just go away. If you don't want to be a Giant fan, fuck off. If you don't want to cover the Giants, fuck off. Don't sit there and tell me, well, I'm contractually obligated to do it, because I know for a fact you're not. But if you don't want to be any of that, take a big fucking flying leap and go. Who fucking cares? But to sit there and say, well, Joe, if you, I don't know what Joe's political affiliation is, because I don't ever ask anybody. I don't ask anybody because I don't
can tell you, I'm fiscally conservative.
You stole that from me.
No, I'm fiscally conservative and I'm socially indifferent. No, I'm not too, but I'm socially indifferent. I'm kind of, if you do what you want, as long as it ain't bothering me.
That's what I would say. As long as you're not bothering me, I don't care what the fuck you do.
Right.
But to her point, though, is if you, like I said, I don't ask anyone's ethnicity. I don't ask their religion. I don't ask anyone's political views, because it doesn't, if I like you, I like you. Right. Those three things are not going to affect if I like you or not. And I don't want to break to Honey over here, that you're probably worked with a lot of conservatives in your time, but it doesn't matter. And so conservatives can work with liberals. Chinese people can work with white people. It doesn't matter. And I love it because these liberals are always like the most, I'm not racist, but you have to do what I say. And if you don't do what I say and you don't agree with what I agree with, I'm going to shun you. That's the definition.
Or the implication is that somehow I'm racist.
Right.
If you don't agree with me,
prejudice and racism.
I don't get it. I never understood that. And as you go through life, I mean, there are people now out there in the world, and this is one that's always defied me. I can't be friends with you because your political ideologies don't align with mine. There are people giving up their friends for this. I'm like, hey, man, politics in and of itself doesn't mean much to me. I said to you, my favorite color is green.
Me too.
And my political ideologies usually align with my pocketbook.
Right.
So if your political ideology, if you as a politician or a leader of whatever jurisdiction that I'm voting for, if your politics align with what's best for my pocket, I'll vote for you usually, because that's just how I see it.
Like, whoever gave him that advice that was a good idea to go do that thing is idiotic.
Nobody gave any advice.
I've talked the Trump curse before, and I'm telling you right now, it's coming for the Giants. It is.
So now the Trump curse is coming for the Giants. Trump went to some national college game.
What curse exactly?
He went to some game about some team that, and everyone cheered him, and that team won the national championship. So if there's a Trump curse because of that, then sign me the fuck up.
Exactly. The guy entered office. He's now he worth well over $1 billion. He's been elected to president twice. He's still alive, well in his 70s. I don't really see the curse. If he's cursed, but
I'm just saying. She's saying that when he goes to like sporting events, a curse. But I could tell you, there's a couple teams that actually won national championships, and I think the USA hockey team will talk about that as well. But there's a curse. There's a curse.
Yeah.
There's a curse, Joe.
Coming for the Giants this year between John Harbaugh being pro-Trump and now Jackson Dart. It's over for us. Our season's done.
Absolutely.
It's over for us. The season's done. Then stop making fucking content.
Is that what you call that?
I said it before. It's like masturbating with a cheese grater. Highly amusing at first, then extremely painful.
Yeah.
But then don't make content anymore. Stop. Because of the fact that evidently you can't work with anyone that does this, and for her to say, well, Malik Neighbors doesn't like Trump, so you have to believe what Malik Neighbors believes.
Okay. So if my wide receiver, and you've been in NFL locker rooms. So if my wide receiver is the leader of, and I'm not going to try not to offend him, is the leader of the Jesus clique.
Right.
And every NFL locker room has a Jesus clique. They pray, they got the Bible out, and they kind of stay to themselves. They don't proselytize all over the locker room. So if my star wide receiver is the leader of the Jesus clique, and I'm not, I all of a sudden have to go to church with him on Saturday evening.
Yes.
So that way he'll catch passes I throw him.
Or you got to go to temple on Saturday, Shalom, or whatever they do. You got to go there on Saturday. You have to, because you're the quarterback of the New York Giants, so you have to be multi-religious.
Okay. So, all right, by that same token, if my star wide receiver is part of the party clique and goes out till 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and then shows up on game day, so now I got to go out with him and troll girls? I can't stay home and get some sleep?
No, you have to go out.
Okay. Because there is that group. There's that group too.
Well, we talked about the 86 Mets. You had what the group they referred to as the Dirtbags, which was led by Keith Hernandez, which was the drinkers, the boozers, the carousers, people having sex in the locker room or in left field. You've heard all the stories now. And then you had the people that hung out with like Gary Carter. You had the Gary Carter, Lee Mazzilli, Ray Knight. You had you had the goody two shoes. How the hell were they able to play together? Because they all didn't believe the same thing.
Right. Exactly. And I've always found this funny because I always love being around an NFL locker room with somebody that hadn't been exposed to it much before. And they see guy comes in, he's all clean shaven and everything. And they look at that guy and say, oh, he's ready for game day. No, he's not. And they see the other guy come in, he's got 3 days of growth and everything. And they say, man, he looks all banged out. I said, no, you got it backwards. The guy who's clean shaven is the guy who went out all night because he was trolling for chicks. The guy who hasn't shaved in 3 days, he went home and sat on his couch after practice and everything and hung out with his wife and had dinner. He's ready to play. The other guy's all banged out, hung over. You'll see. He'll be throwing up in a bucket in an hour.
Joe, I love this. Dart's got to be Allen or Mahomes to the level to introduce Trump. He isn't good enough yet. What does that matter?
Joe, come on with this stuff. Joe just baiting us.
Oh, I know. He's rage baiting, which I learned that yesterday what that was. or Sunday. I learned what that was now.
Dart ain't Allen and Dart ain't Mahomes, and I don't think he's ever going to be that. But what we hope is he says that he's good enough that will allow this team to win championships at some point in the near future.
Well, not anymore because she says that he can't get along with people in the locker room because they're all going to be mad at him.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that wears off right after guys realize, well, I got to play my ass off because I want my job next year and I want my money. Because with these outside people,
there you go, right there.
Football is their job, just like whatever it is they do is your job. So when they show up in that locker, their job is to do work to the best of their ability to make sure they have a job next year, make sure they make money, work towards that next contract. Just like everybody that goes to work with whatever they do, from making widgets to running a Fortune 500 company. You work around people you may or may not like, but you got to do the best you can every day in order to make that money and make sure you're making it today, tomorrow, and the next day. And that's what these guys are thinking about, their future.
I'm not going to say who this player was, but there was a player in Tampa my last year there, because it was all them going 7-9 and 6-10 was my fault. I'm taking full responsibility for that.
Oh, you're cursed too?
Yeah, evidently I'm cursed. Well, Miami only had one win when I was there, so yeah, I actually do think I was cursed. But the Orlando Predators, we did win a championship, and same with the Philadelphia Souls. But there was a player in Tampa, I'm not going to say who was people thought was this sullen guy, this guy that just that didn't want to do anything with anyone, didn't want to be, it was not part of any of the locker room cliques. And I sat down one day with this guy because I had to do something, and I was talking to him. Great guy, funny, very, very personable. I mean, and I'm talking to this guy, and then I leave, and he kind of goes back to what he was. And I was talking to another player, and I said, this, it's kind of weird that when you see him in the locker room, he's always by himself. He's always, you don't really see him talking to anyone else. And the guy said to me, something I'll never forget. He goes, well, this is his job. And he will tell you this. He goes, he is a great guy outside the locker room, but once he goes into the locker room, he'll tell you, this is how I make my money. So I am focused. I am concentrating. I am getting ready to, and he'll tell you, I am getting ready to do what I need to do to make my money, take care of my family, and everything else around me is just noise.
Yeah.
And no one said anything about it. And they all understood, but to her point, he was the malcontent. He was the guy with the malfeasance that no one wanted to talk to because he's such a horrible human being. When it had nothing to do that, he's just telling you, I'm here doing my job. And your political affiliation, the color of your skin, your sexual orientation did not matter to him in that locker room, because he was there for one sole purpose, which was to win football games and get a check.
Just like any other place of employment, you got some guys that are hyper-focused, stay to themselves, and you got some people that are lousy employees and they're all over the place, and you got some that are great employees, but they interact. There's 53 different personalities. And remember something, I'm going to tell everybody something if you didn't know it. Yes, football is a team sport, but these are 53 individuals. And while their team goals come together, while their individual goals come together on Sunday, a lot of their time is spent on their own individual goals and what they need to accomplish for themselves.
But that's what the problem with these people that, and I take beat writers out of that, because beat writers are in the locker room. But from what I know now with beat writers and what I remember in the early 2000s, the access for the beat writers are not the same. It's not the same level, because you now have media hour, you now have this, you now have times you can be in the locker room. But in my day, in the early 2000s, a majority, especially the local beat writers, had carte blanche, full access to the locker room. So now when you have content creators that talk about, who've never been in an NFL locker room, never been in a college locker room, never been probably in a high school locker room, tell you about the locker room and how this is all going to go to shit.
You don't know.
You have no clue. We've talked about it before. The 85 Bears, the defense hated the offense. 81 Giants, it was the same way. I mean, this 85 Bears, it was the first time in Super Bowl history a head coach and a defensive coordinator were both carried off the field because in some regards, the defense thought of Buddy Ryan as the other head coach.
Yeah, that's why both were carried off.
Which was the first time that happened in NFL history.
Yankees in the late 70s.
Oh, God.
They hated each other. They hated the manager. The manager hated the owner. The players hated the owner. The only thing they could agree on is they all hated George.
Yeah,
and
they wanted to win.
They united and they wanted to win, and they united together and won. That's it. I mean, this idea that somehow an NFL locker room, other than the fact that they're playing a kid's game and that their vocation, that their job is a kid's game that we all wish we could get paid to play, that somehow their locker room and their going to work is radically different than your going to work. It's not, except they actually work a damn sight harder than you. Because when you go home at 5 o'clock, there are people who work really hard. I'm not, but for a lot of rank and file people, their day starts at 9 and ends at 5. And at 5 after 9, they come in carrying a cup of coffee. They're not motivated. They're not. They actually start their work day.
I was going to say the day starts at 9:30 and ends at 4:30.
Right. And they go home and they sit on their couch and they watch TV and they talk to their wife, and you can't bother about anything work. I'm not on the clock, blah, blah, blah. These guys aren't like that. They work when they're on the clock. They work when they're off the clock. You look at that quarterback. First guy in the building. He's in that building 4:30 in the morning. He's looking at tape. Everybody else leaves. He's still there looking at tape. These guys are hyper-focused and hyper-driven, and they work harder than you'll ever know in order to succeed. It's their job, just like your job is your job. Except, trust me, they work a damn sight harder than almost all of you at doing their job. I promise you.
Oh, I agree. Big Dash says he's 100% a Mormon, but it says here he's a devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints. So, I mean, it says it right here in his bio.
I don't care if he's a Mormon.
I don't know. I don't know what the Christian Church is. This is how.
That is the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the proper name of the Mormon Church.
Okay, because I don't know. Like I said, because I'm not one of these guys that you have to.
And I love Big Dash, by the way.
Oh, I love Big Dash too, but I'm not one of these guys that knows this.
No, that is. I don't care if he's a Mormon.
Okay, then he's a Mormon.
I don't care what he is. It doesn't matter. I'm not hanging out with Jackson Dart on Sunday. I'm not going to church with him.
Dash, if you're out
double
there,
dates with him
Dash,
and his lovely girlfriend.
Shut up a second, Joe. Dash, if you're out there, come on a second. I'd like to get your opinion if you're available. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, Dash. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Steve Young is a Mormon. I didn't know that. But Big Dash, if you're available, put the link in the chat. I mean, I put the link in the chat. Come on the show a minute, because I'd love to get your opinion. Here's the thing. I'm a lapsed Irish Catholic. So I don't.
Shame.
Yes. So I don't sit there. And that's the other thing. I don't sit there and say, I don't, like I said, maybe I'm the fucking weird one. Because I've said this before. Back in the 90s, I had, and I still have a lot of friends now. But back in the 90s, I hung out with a guy named Quaddy, Miguel, and Dan. We were tight. We're still tight. And that's what I thought of them. But now, in some regards, with liberals, it's like, well, you hang out with a black guy, Hispanic, and a Chinese guy. No, because back then, I just hung out with my friends. It didn't matter to me what they were because I don't fucking care. I like you as a person. I like you as a person. I dislike you as a person. I'm gonna fucking dislike you as a person. That's my only philosophy. And for her to basically say, well, he's a Mormon, so he's a Trump supporter, so I can't like the Giants anymore. Yes, he really is stupid. Yes, I agree.
Shocking. A rich young white kid supporting a Republican, a conservative Republican.
I know.
Why would anybody?
Why would anyone? Why would politics is a slippery slope? It's a lose. It is a lose.
Big Dash.
It is a lose-lose. But here's the thing, Big Dash. You know this. I don't shy away from any topic. I don't care if, and I love it because I always love my subscriber count because people are always like, you're never going to hit 13,000. Because I don't. Because I'll start getting up to 13,000, then I'll say something shit like this, and all of a sudden I'm down to 12,000. I don't care. I don't do this because of the fact that I do this for money. I don't do this because I'm doing this to be famous. I don't do this to being popular. Because if I was doing this to be popular, I would fucking do this a lot differently. I do this because this is me. And this is what I like to do. And that's it. And I'm a Giant fan. I'm a huge Knick fan too. Thank God. She went way too far. There's no coming back from that. Hey, how do you that's a good question. Her YouTube channel is over. I didn't even know it was there. How do you come back from that? How do you basically say, I am no longer a Giant fan, no longer a Giant supporter. Whoever's a liberal team, tell me who you are, and I'm going to root for that. How can you? And like I said, then yesterday she did a Giant video, someone told me.
Well, I mean, she'll keep putting out content until her audience completely evaporates, but there'll be a group of people that'll just troll her. She'll put something out there and she will just get abused. I thought you said you weren't going to support the Giants anymore, and it'll devolve into that, and then eventually it'll just fade away because you basically have renounced your fandom because of the quarterback's political views. Right. So there is no coming back from that. What are you going to say? I changed my mind.
Oh yeah, AJ. If you've ever been to a strip club in Buckhead in the early 2000s, oh yeah, you were making. They were. I wasn't making it rain because I didn't have that kind of money. But you go there. You went there with a professional athlete. You made it. There was a fucking monsoon. I've already told you there is a story I could tell, and certain people know it, that I was in Scores in New York in the early 2000s. With multiple Knick players after a game. But then again, Chuck Zito was there because he was the bouncer at the time. And I'm going to tell you, I would never tell you anyone what happened those nights. But it was.
And if you don't think athletes like strip clubs, you sadly mistaken, son.
Mike Lee, what's up, brother? Did you get back? I thought you were on your world tour. Hell, any strip club has a professional team. Hell, the phrase that goes in Vegas stays in Vegas. I wonder what she thinks that meant. She probably meant that if she lost her sunglasses and she would left Vegas and she was in New York, that they would probably stay in Vegas, the sunglasses.
Mike Lee's got a good one. Check the.
I love Mike Lee.
I love this, because he brings up a great point. He talks about the fact that how many people had said if Bush got elected, if Trump got elected, famous celebrities, actors, I'm going to leave the country. They're all still here, except for Rosie O'Donnell. She was the only one that, to her credit, whatever that may be, she left. She went to Ireland. All the rest just stayed. So it's these empty threats and empty promises. Don't threaten me you're going to leave. Just go away.
T-Brad says it best. Sorry, she's saying the same thing conservatives said about Colin Kaepernick. Both sides do the same thing. Liberals I agree, and we talked about Colin Kaepernick yesterday, but I disagree because the Colin Kaepernick situation is very different. Colin Kaepernick came out very vehemently against law enforcement. He did things besides the kneeling. The kid went and introduced the president, and even to Boomer, and I don't even like Boomer Esiason, but even to Boomer's point, all he did was introduce the president. He didn't say, I'm introducing the president because I think every one of his economic policies are a stop second what I believe. I believe that he should lock everyone up that doesn't believe anywhere different for him. I believe in his immigration policies. I believe in everything that he does with Israel. I believe in what he's doing with the economics. Donald Trump. No, he said, here's the 45th and 47th president. It's my honor to introduce the 47th and 45th president of the United States. Donald J. Trump.
Exactly. I mean, hey,
so different. Slightly different.
I agree. Here's what I learned. In 30 years in media, I learned I really keep my politics to a minimum as far as putting it out in the public eye. I don't put any of it on my social media. I really don't.
No, I don't.
It was always recommended, but I'll say it before, I'll say it again. This discussion we're having is not about politics. It's about stupid. And everybody's missing the point here. Everybody thinks that the discussion that Tim and I are having is about politics.
We're not even talking about
politics or religion at all. It's about stupidity and how you should accord yourself, how you shouldn't accord yourself, and the realities of how places of employment are and locker rooms and sports are and everything else. The politics has nothing to do with it.
Oh, I gotta get the Sal's comment here. Sal, no team is going to go headhunting for Jackson Dart. No team is going to take their political beliefs on the field and risk a fine or suspension by headhunting for Jackson Dart. This isn't the Bounty Bowl with Buddy Ryan. No player. And I'm gonna guarantee, and we Joe Spano said it best as well. Probably half the locker room is conservative. So no guy is going to risk a game check. No guy is going to risk a suspension. But this is not the 90s where you didn't get paid like you get paid now. You don't get paid where a third string tight end's making $1.5 million. That's
I mean, again, to me, the politics is not the point. I don't care what your political leanings. I don't care what your religious leanings are. I don't care about any of this stuff.
I like this one. Vote for T-Brad 22. You got my vote, T-Brad.
Yeah, there you
go. You got my vote, T. I know I'd vote for you, T-Brad. I would vote for you in a podcast. These podcasters dropping F-bombs for Jackson Dart like he's above the franchise and his fan base. Tim, Tim, Adrian's thousands of followers aren't migrating to you. You know what? I don't want them. I hope not. God forbid, because if that had
come down the chat, I'm sure.
I'm already feeling a little stupid now as it is. Even just playing that video, I think my IQ dropped 12 points, and I can't even afford a 2-point drop.
Yeah. You have been hitting the head a lot.
11 known concussions. Known. It was back in the late 80s. Joe, you never had, and I love it. In the late 80s,
get back out there.
No. Late 80s going into the 90s wasn't a concussion. You got your bell rung.
Yeah.
You got your bell rung, kid. Take a little smelling sauce, get back out on the fucking field.
I always used to love how they checked. They held up they always held up two fingers.
And
so I love shit too.
It wouldn't matter how many fingers. Thursday, he's good.
He's good.
And then I love it because, and I always love the expression, because that literally, if you've ever had a concussion or even a football, any concussion, but in a football field, you literally do hear this ringing. And it's after the initial impact, because basically you got your brain shook. Yeah. And after that's why they call it getting your bell rung, because you would hear this ringing in your ears, and it wasn't that tinnitus or whatever it is. It wasn't that. It was just, you're like, and then you would have it for like a week or 2 weeks or a month, but you were fine. The only problem was I kept fucking answering my phone.
You ran around, you played fine. You may not have remembered anything that happened in that game, but you played fine. People ask you, what happened? I don't know. Watch the tape. I don't
know what the fuck happened. Giants are not the most racist organization in NFL history. What is wrong with people? What the fuck is wrong with people? Ralph says, tuned in late, devoted a half hour of my life, and I can't get over Soul Joe Schoen. Not earth-shattering news. John Harbaugh and Joe Schoen peers on the org chart. Actually, they're not peers on the org chart. That's an interesting point. I want to read this now. I'm going to read this one last time, Joe.
And then let's get into it a little bit.
We're going to read this. I received text messages from a person that has given us information before, has told us things that turned out to be 100% accurate and true. There is only probably one thing that he told us that was not 100% true, but he gave me the inside. What he heard is the inside details of why Joe Schoen is still this general manager. He's still saying it is a 2-year extension. And he said Harbaugh did not make the decision on the Schoen extension. Ownership did. There's a growing narrative that Harbaugh somehow saved Joe's job or personally pushed through the Schoen extension, but that simply does not reflect how the NFL power structure works. Head coaches can absolutely influence and provide input, especially a coach of Harbaugh's stature, but the final authority on front office decisions belong to ownership. Look at Harbaugh's longtime relationship with Eric DeCosta and previously with Newsom with the Ravens. Harbaugh has always operated in a collaborative model with the front office. He and the GM always worked together, shared roster visions, discussing player fits, alignment, and organizational goals. But ownership, led by Steve Bisciotti, always had the final say on major leadership decisions. That's how a successful organization functions. Harbaugh's voice matters. When a Super Bowl winning head coach speaks, ownership will listen. His opinion carried significant weight in internal discussions, but influence, I always love this part, Joe, influence and authority are not the same thing. Harbaugh can help shape the roster, impact the draft priorities, and build football culture, but he does not have unilateral power over executive contracts. That power remains with the owner's office. Schoen's extension was about ownership betting on the partnership, not surrendering power. The simplest explanation I have is which is the right one, that the Giants ownership group believed Schoen and Harbaugh could succeed together. Schoen wasn't saved by Harbaugh. Ownership evaluated the situation, considered Harbaugh's input, and chose stability.
Well, I have no reason to doubt this source. Your track record with him has been
incredible,
impeccable.
Well, not impeccable. He was wrong a quarter of. He was 25% wrong on one thing.
By the way, in the source business, that's impeccable.
Oh, I know.
3/4 to 1/4, because Christ, I mean, this is a business where a source, and they throw it out there, and then half the time it happens, half the time it don't. And then if it happens 5 years later, see, we told you it would happen. But, when you listen to this, there's a couple of things. One of the best things and smartest things he said is about ownership having the final say. Owners write big checks. They have influence over who they write those checks to. That's not going to change whether it's a completely hands-off ownership or a Jerry Jones style hands-on ownership. That doesn't change. I prefer my ownership much more like Steve Bisciotti, which is very much hands-off day-to-day, than Jerry Jones very much hands-on, because the Jerry Jones style doesn't work and the Steve Bisciotti style does. That said, when I listen to this, the thing that I'm taken with is they're betting on the collaboration.
Right.
Which Joe Schoen, in and of himself, with his track record, has given you nothing to bet on that the collaboration would work. So short of an absolutely ringing endorsement by John Harbaugh saying, I really want this guy here, there is no reason, now that we're clear of the draft and talent acquisition for the 2026 season, there's really no reason for Joe Schoen to be here. Because if you gave John Harbaugh $100 million and you reworked your organizational structure in order to accommodate him and get him here, there is no reason, unless John Harbaugh wants Joe Schoen here, that Joe Schoen should be here, unless the Maras want a stooge in the building. To me, it's plain and simple. He's done nothing based on his performance that dictates he should be here. If John wants him here, I'm good with it because it's John's show. If John is lukewarm on him being here or doesn't prefer him being here, there is absolutely no reason for him to be here other than the Giants want a stooge in the building, because since John's got here, he sealed a lot of the leaks. This is the last stooge left they have.
But I think the point that I took most out of this was the end where it said they want to keep the continuity, which is such a John Mara thing. John Mara doesn't like change and doesn't like to make change immediately.
All due respect to John, your continuity has been in failure. So you want to keep a continuity that's going to continue to fail. You brought John Harbaugh in because you conceded that your organization needed to change. So there is no real reason that you need to keep continuity because you have embraced change. So once you embrace change, embrace the damn change. Unless, again, this is a Sean Payton and
how long
did
it take Wellington Mara to embrace change? I know we're going back.
And you know how I felt about I was not as warm and fuzzy on Wellington Mara as the rest of Giant Nation and the rest of the National Football League.
But how long?
The reasons you're mentioning.
But how long did it take for him to embrace change and go with Jordan?
25 years.
People forget about the 70s and parts of the 60s how horrid the Giants were, even going into the 80s. And because Wellington Mara, you had Steve Owens, who was the general manager for like
100
decades.
Now,
and then you went internally
because you may know even more about this than me. I've always been of the belief that the destruction of the Giants started when Ali Sherman was hired as the head coach, and they tore apart that defense, and they ended up going very aggressively towards the offense, and then everything started falling apart mid to late 60s, and then it just ran on from there.
Ali Sherman had, and I don't really want to get into this because no one cares about Ali Sherman, but Ali Sherman basically he had a few good seasons, but to your point, it was one of those things that it's almost like a Matt Nagy. I had a great season. I had a bad season. I had a great season. I had 2 bad seasons. I had a good season. That Ali Sherman, again, he was another one that should have been gone well before his time, but it was for continuity purposes for Wellington. And it's the same reason why they went to Andy Robustelli for the general manager. It made no fucking sense, but he was a Giant. He was a Giant great. And for continuity purposes, we're keeping it. I always hate this term. We're keeping it in house. We're going to bring in a guy that just, you know.
But do you get my point? You went outside the house and realized you needed to change things, but you keep this one link to in the house. It doesn't make sense. The continuity's been shown to be failing. I mean, again, unless Harbs wants him here, and I mean wants him here, and wants to work with him the way Sean Payton is working with his general manager in Denver. And the parallels are tremendous there. The general manager, Patton, in Denver was about to be ridden out on his ass because he had been as bad as Joe Schoen.
Yeah.
They bring in the strong head coach, and he has the influence, and he's the leadership of the organization. And he wants to work with Patton. All of a sudden, Patton's considered a great GM. It's because of the leadership and the guidance of Sean Payton and the franchise and the direction of the franchise being molded by Sean Payton. You could have the same thing here with John Harbaugh and Joe Schoen, but it's a matter of if John Harbaugh wants it. If John Harbaugh is at all opposed to it, get rid of Joe Schoen and let him go out and get a guy he wants to work with.
Well, that's why I think it's only. That's why I believe it's only a 2. Hit the fucking like button, people. That's why I think it's only a 2-year extension.
That's all I'm saying. If he's for it, great. Because I'm of the belief Joe's power in the room is somewhat marginal. You look at the players that were acquired. You look at how everything is done. It's got Harbs written all over it. Harbs is getting the players he wants. Things are being done the way he wants.
Well, you got to back up for that a second, because the director of scouting or whomever we just hired, where did he come from and who is he associated with?
He does have association with Joe Schoen. Yeah.
Yes.
And Dawn as well.
Yes, but he did work with Joe Schoen in Dawn in Miami and someplace else as well. So, but let's get to the chat real quick. So I want to make sure we get to a lot of these questions, a lot of these people's comments. Steve Young, yes, I did not know Steve Young was a Mormon. To be honest, one of the greatest quarterbacks, and not only greatest left-handed quarterbacks there are. Hey, Tim, who do you think the Knicks have a better chance of beating the Spurs compared to? I think the Knicks actually compare and shape up a hell of a lot better to OKC.
You think it's because of OKC's offensive limitations that have shown in the playoffs?
Yes, and I think if you look at a true matchup, a true roster matchup, they match up extremely well with OKC. San Antonio scares the bejesus out of me. So I'm actually hoping OKC makes it. Master of the coin says Adrian has already thrown away her dart French tickler. Tim, she's on Bleav Network. How are you going to talk down on a colleague? Because she's not a colleague. She has a show on Bleav. And I have almost 2 million views in a year. Downloads on Bleav. I think we're okay.
Maybe our OnlyFans has downloads. I don't know.
Well, that's not nice. We don't know. Take that.
I know, but I'm not nice. I never said I was nice.
That's not nice. Even I was offended by that.
Yeah, well,
take that back.
It won't be the last time.
I just posted my pink slip on her channel. Jackson Dart hurt his team before the season. He's gonna get other teammates getting attacked. Nobody is going to attack anyone because of this. Nobody is going to go after a Giant or Jackson Dart because of Donald Trump. It is the idiocy, and I also think it's people that watch too much television and people that speculate, Joe, on NFL locker rooms.
Well, they've never been in one. You don't know. It's a different place, different planet, but it has similarities to your workplace in some of the fundamental things we talked about. And again, we discussed this last week as well. He went and talked to the Giants shortly before it happened and basically said, I'm doing this. And I'm sure they said to him, hey, all right, would we prefer you not get political? Probably. But hey, if you're going to go do it. Just realize you're not doing it on behalf of the organization, and whatever fallout you get.
But people were upset that he was saying go Big Blue. And he was trying to get the chant, go Big Blue. Because he said that made it team-oriented. He's a fucking kid.
It's not team-oriented. The team is not taking any ownership of it.
He didn't say, the New York Giants and Jackson Dart proudly present President Donald J. Trump. Oh. Dart can throw for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and less than 10 picks. I wouldn't care.
If he thought the earth was
flat.
Him and Kyrie Irving can hang out together.
I know. I love this guy. I like Shake. This podcast is racist.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's very racist. To the point I think Joe Ferry's brought up. I wanted Fernando Mendoza is actually Cuban. Joe Ferry is not Mexican. I wanted a Cuban quarterback. But we're racist because we have opinions. And that's fine. You could think we're racist. That's okay. It's all good. I don't care. In my pocket, I'm on zero fucks. I'm all good.
It's funny. People's views, in some cases, or on how they see things, are colored by.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Whatever your name is, Shame, AK Boyd. Fuck off. Fuck off. Go fuck your mother. Fuck off. You are a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this. You are a retard. You are too dumb to watch this fucking show. If you're calling someone a colonizer and all this and racist, more than likely you need to look in the fucking mirror, look at that ugly face looking back at you, and understand that you are probably the one that's the racist, because we are talking about a situation. We are talking about an organization. We are talking about a topic which has sensitivity. I think we address the sensitivity. For you to say shit like that, you need to just go fuck yourself. And if you have a problem with it, I sit at F8 every fucking home game. You cannot miss me. I love it because Dominic Palmer came over from the UK. I'm sitting there waiting in customs for him. And I love it because I'm on the phone with him. I said, I'm over here. I'm trying to tell him. He's like, dude, I cannot fucking miss you. So come on down and say hello. Call me a colonizer. Call me anything you fucking want. Because then I'm going to stick my fist up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet because you're a fucking moron.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I think people fail to realize that our views on things are colored by our upbringing, our current situations, and what we're exposed to. I mean, I'm going to tell a short story. I'll make it quick, I promise.
Well, that's going to be something.
I was on the air during a lot of the Kaepernick stuff, as you're aware. And I got an African-American gentleman called into the show. And he's talking to me, and he says, he appreciated my point of view on a lot of things. He says, but there's certain things you can't understand, that you can't identify with. He started asking me some questions. He says, have you ever gotten in an elevator and everybody in that elevator retreats to the back corner of the elevator just because of your presence? I said, no. And he says, well, I have. So long story short, there are African Americans, Native Americans, Asian Americans, et cetera, whose life experiences I can't identify with. I have a different upbringing. I am who I am. I'm a middle-aged white guy, and my view of the world is through those eyes. But as you can also see, I'm tolerant of everybody and their beliefs, and I don't have a prejudice bone in my body. You live your life. If you ain't hurting me and the people around you, I have no problem with what you like and appreciate. At the end of the day, that's me in a nutshell. I like what I like. I don't want to hurt nobody. You like what you like. Don't hurt anybody. But my view of the world is clouded by the way I was raised, what I was exposed to as a youth, and my current situation in life. It's different than others. It's all it is.
2007, I walked in an elevator and I pushed my floor. And I will admit, not even half, the entire elevator went to one side. Now, in all fairness, this was 2007. There was a restaurant, probably still around, called Moe's Mexican food. Really good. A lot of beans, though.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of beans.
All right, that's a whole different.
Well,
you get my
point. They went to the other fucking side.
Right. I was trying to be serious because I'm trying to give people a little bit of insight into who I am.
I don't want to lie.
Tim, in many ways, is cut from the same cloth.
I don't want to lie, though. I actually tried to go to the other side of the elevator, too.
Right. Tim's a lot of things, and I think I can tell you something. Tim ain't racist. Tim likes you because you're a good person, and he don't like you because you're a piece of garbage. Yeah. I've just my exposure to Tim these last few months, that's what I see. And I can't tell you what goes on in his house, but what I see on the surface, if you're a good person, Tim likes you. If you're a piece of shit, he don't like you. He don't care if you're black, white, blue, yellow, green with purple stripes, dots, whatever. And I'm kind of the same, and I'm very much the same way.
Well, my Hispanic Native American wife would be shocked to find out that I was racist.
So again, and I've always said, you can like me, you can hate me. I prefer you like me, but if you don't, I don't give a fuck. Well, it ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna change the amount of money in my pocket and a roof over my head. So fuck you.
Tim said it right. If Darts announced a liberal, none of the conservatives would have cared because they're busy making money. I said that yesterday. AJ said, stop with the fake outrage and the perpetual victimhood. Grow the hell up. Stanley said Pat Leonard was furious when the Giants decided to extend Joe Schoen because Pat Leonard said, like Adrian did, that Joe Schoen was getting fired.
So if you have a take, if you are predicting something and it goes wrong, you have to get furious, I guess. No, just admit you were wrong and move on. I've been in sports talk 30 years. I had a lot of strong opinions. A lot of them were right. A bunch of them were wrong. Admit the wrong, crow about the right, move forward.
The collaboration seems to be going well so far. And that we're talking about the Joe Schoen, John Harbaugh collaboration. If you didn't hear, you have to go back and make sure you're hitting the like button so we can get up to 75 likes before we leave. That we read the text messages that I received from a person that gives us information that's usually normally right. And they said it's a collaborative effort. Joe Ferry says NASDAQ hit 30K today. What the fuck? Because it's easy. Joe Ferry's, I've been telling you this all along. Everything's going to be fine. Commodities, I mean, right now the Dow is down, to 129, I believe, right now, but all my stocks are up, so I don't fucking care. Oil prices are going to drop, and I just did a fuck your sensitivity, the mad ramblings of a Gen Xer, so make sure everyone goes and listens to that, because I talked about the artificial inflation of oil prices in regards to the commodities market and who actually owns the Strait of Hormuz. So if you haven't seen that, go watch that show. We're bringing the pod back. Why? I don't know. Because we had 20,000 downloads in a month last month just from one episode. And I don't know why. So we're going to try to do another episode and see what kind of happens there. Mike Lee says the source really couldn't say because the guardrails for Joe, the stay in Harbaugh and Dawn, at least that's my opinion. No, I think I think Joe and Mike, I think the email or the text messages with the way he set it up, he basically said right in the beginning, I laughed because I was sending Joe snippets earlier today, but I didn't send him the good stuff. I just sent him one of the other emails. He says right off the bat, yeah, of course, that's what that's what you do. He said, he literally said right off the bat, Harbaugh did not make the decision on the Joe Schoen extension, ownership did. He literally said, that was the very first sentence. And that tells me, and then he even goes on to say, especially, and he would know because he's been in the NFL for 30 plus years, he'll say the power structure it works is the head coach does not make the executive decision on executive level positions in the front office, which would also be the general manager, unless the head coach vis-a-vis is the general manager. But he even said nowhere in NFL history can he remember a head coach hiring a general manager that was not approved solely by ownership. Because to Joe's point, ownership's writing the check.
I guess if you go back to Seattle, when Pete Carroll was the head coach and he hired John Schneider as the GM, that was a clear situation. Hey, I'm the head coach. I am going to pick the groceries, but I can't also be the GM and figure out who should be our 4th round pick. So I got to hire an underling, and you'll be my underling. What I want for Harbaugh is to have that kind of underling. If he thinks it's Joe Schoen, great. If he's not, get the fucking guy out of the building already.
I love this right here for Joe Frazier. John Mara doesn't like change, so we're going to keep losing. I hope to God not. Why not the military? We don't sacrifice our lives. That's what Dan Schneider. I don't even know what we're talking about with Dan Schneider. John and Joe, continuity is 6 months at best. So is there really continuity? Now he's going to be here 2 years. He's going to be here at least a minimum of 2 years. I keep hearing that they say it's a multi-year extension. I've heard now from 3 different people that it's a 2-year extension. So it's technically a 3-year contract, which would make sense to me, Joe, because if I'm Harbaugh and I did have input, I would only want it to be a 3-year deal, because then that means if things start going horribly wrong, I still got 2 years left on my contract.
Fair. Do you agree that the collaboration thus far has gone exceedingly well, number one? And number two, do you also agree that Harbaugh's fingerprints are all over everything we've done this offseason, far more so than Joe Schoen's?
I think a lot of it is luck. And I do think there is a Harbaugh influence, and I do think, but Reese falling to 5 because the Cardinals took Love.
I could have made that pick.
I could have made that. You and I could have both made that pick. Big Francis falling to 10. The best offensive lineman in the entire draft, who was at sometimes predicted to go to Arizona, falling to 10. That again is no fucking brainer. So to me, Tremaine Edmonds not trading for him and waiting. We even did a show that said I would never send anything over for Tremaine Edmonds because you're going to take on that contract. They're going to release him,
right?
And they did.
That price. They weren't going to pay him what Chicago was paying him, so you just wait. It
didn't make sense. Pure luck. Harbaugh bringing in certain guys from Baltimore is because Harbaugh came in here from Baltimore. So I agree that's part of the Harbaugh effect. But I think a lot of it is the Giants have been so unlucky, especially in the draft in the last couple of years, that they always say, blind squirrel finds an acorn now and then. But to have them sit there and have those 2 picks fall to them, I don't count that for Schoen. I don't count that for Harbaugh. I count that for sheer NFL luck. I think both of them. I think this is the stamp of the Harbaugh team. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, Harbaugh does give, and especially at the town hall and on interviews, he does give a lot of credit to Joe Schoen for other things that we probably don't know about that are going on. To your point, I don't have time to look at the 4th round pick. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. But there is a point in consideration that he is maybe doing something behind the scenes. And I forgot which move it was, because we had someone tell us that Joe Schoen was, and it was a big move. I can't remember if it was a trade. I don't think it was a trade move. So I don't remember. But I was told that Joe Schoen did have a pretty big hand in bringing this one player in. So, like I said, and I said, if that's the case, I got to give Shane credit. You know, I can dislike you for all the stupid shit you've done, but if you start doing shit right.
I just hope they're working in lockstep. You know what I hope? I'll take it like this. I hope that the Albert Breer story in SI about 2 months ago, I hope that that's an accurate portrayal of their relationship. I don't know that it is, but I hope it is, because that one, man, they were singing Kumbaya and it was Happy Swell Meadows. If it's like that, the upside of this relationship could be Sean Payton and Pat in Denver, where the Harbaugh influence over the personnel guy and the leader of that personnel department or scouting department turns a guy who was a shitty GM into a good one.
Hey, Eddie. Or Ed, the link is in the chat. I just put it in the chat. You won't say shit, you colonizing trumpet. The link is in the chat. Come on. Come on. Wipe your pussy. Come on. Then we'll wait for you. Come on. Come say hello. We'll wait. We will wait for you. I will wait until 5 o'clock. Well, I can't wait till 5 o'clock, so I got to get the kids. I will wait. I'll have Joe wait here till 5 o'clock.
I'll wait, because
Joe will wait here till 5 o'clock. Come on. I love it.
You want to call me a racist? You barking up the wrong tree, and you will get the other side of me. And
welcome to Moe's.
I promise you that.
Mike Lee knows Moe's. Welcome, because that was the big thing. Welcome to Moe's. They had these great burritos. I don't know. I think Moe's Mexican Fire Grill, where it was still in business. They were like a fast.
They're still around. I got one down. I got one 2 minutes away from me by car.
Okay, good, because
get the home record burrito. It works.
I loved Moe's. I mean, I literally loved the Moe's, and like you said, there was
fresh, and you get chips and salsa for free with your burrito.
And I can tell you, because I know for a fact it was 2007. I was going to a meeting. I had on a very nice double-breasted tan Armani suit, looking sharp. It just came out.
Pays to stay in shape. I had to go Hugo Boss. I had gotten heavy at one point, and the Armani taper just didn't work.
I laughed. Swear to God, the whole elevator just went.
Yeah.
And I was looking at, and of course, then it's me. So I'm like, as soon as it happens and the old elevator went that way, I'm like, woo, what happened there? Who did that? It's like, I know damn well who did that.
I guess our friend is not coming for a visit, huh?
No, because they're all pussies.
All talk, no action.
They're all pussies.
Yeah.
They're all talk. I've been telling people for years where I park. No one ever shows up. No one ever shows up.
Come find me. You'll be sorry.
One guy I should rephrase that. One guy showed up last year. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. He showed up 2 years ago. And he got within like 15 feet. And I love it, though, because and then all of a sudden he starts talking to me. And all of a sudden I could see his hands are doing this.
He's never been in a fight.
And I told him, I looked at him and I was like, relax.
I ain't going to hit you yet.
Tell me what you think. Tell me what you're saying. And also, most of the people that been to games with me and know me, I don't have any small friends. Like James Williams is a big guy. T-Brad's a big guy. Big El Gigante. And there's a reason I call him Big El Gigante, is a big guy. I don't roll with a small group. And I was trying to tell him, I was just trying to explain, listen, no one's going to do anything to, I mean, like I said, Dom is the small one. But like I said,
very small.
The people that roll to my games with me, we're not small, we're not tiny individuals. So we can be imposing when we're all together. And I told her, what's funny? We had a great conversation. We talked for about 25 minutes. And then I love it because he leaves and goes, well, you are a really nice guy. And I'm like, yeah. He said, I'm not. I found it funny that Burrito Supreme, and I think it's the only one that has sour cream, called the Monica Lewinsky. You actually are. You actually are right.
I just did WK25. 911 showing up. He's gigantic.
He's actually, I love it though, because Mike Lee, and we've told this story before, but I always think it's a great story. I used to be a bouncer on South Street, Philadelphia, in a place called Who's on Third and a couple other bars. And we were on the show one day and we were talking about that. And then Mike Lee goes, did you work during this time? I was like, yeah. And he was like, did you have like a flat top and you had like, you always wore like a black shirt and jeans and boots? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I think you threw me out. And then he told the story about these two women that he was with, and you got to love it because Mike Lee is pimp. He's not with one woman, he's with two, and how they got into a fight in the middle of the club. And I tried to explain to Mike. I said, well, the funny thing is, I probably don't remember that because that was every Friday.
Every day.
That was every Friday. I mean, I would, and I hated having to remove women from the club because they were the worst. They scratch, they bite, they claw. You always try to, you always should do this with women anyways. You always try to get, you give your best impression. You try to defuse the situation because they're fucking nuts. Mm-hmm. And they will scratch your eyes. And I tried to tell Mike Lee, I said, I don't know, man. I said, throwing 3 people out of the club, that's I must have did that like 7 times on a Friday night, if not more. But I just think it's funny how a lot of things come full circle when you do a show like this, and then you meet people like Mike Lee. And like I said, I loved Mike Lee, even before that story, but I just thought it was hilarious that, you go by all these years and you run into someone and then they're like, I think you threw me out of a bar. And then it turns out, well, yeah, I probably did. It's
like all these years later, you told me James Williams remembers me from when he was a kid when I was on Channel 11.
Yeah, but that's different. You're on a TV show. I'm in the bar throwing people out.
That's true.
And then he remembered. That was like, and I'll tell one last story because I actually got to go. One last story when I was working on Who's on Third. I always tell the story. When I was there, I had been stabbed. I had been shot at. And none of that scared me more than the time I got beat up by a midget. Or a height impaired person, or whatever you want to fucking call them. And I love it because... And we got him out of the bar. We got it because you never start a fight in the club. You always make sure you try to get everyone out beforehand because then the police show up, everything gets shut down. It's not like Roadhouse where you don't start fights in the bar because you don't want to wreck the furniture. No, you don't want the cops to come and shut everything down and have them start walking around IDing people. That's the reason why you don't have a fight in the club. So we got this little guy, probably smaller, about the same size as Dom, probably like 5'4". Get him out of the club. Got him out on the street, and Who's on Third was like right towards an intersection. So we got him out on the street, and then he still mouthed off, and he took a swing at me, and he hit me. And I swear to God, he must have been like a greased pig because I could not catch that motherfucker. He pummeled me for like what seemed like an eternity. It was probably 30 seconds until the other bouncer showed up and grabbed him. And all night long, I had to hear, did you hear how Tim got beat up by a midget? And now, if you're a bouncer in a club, the one thing you don't want to do is you never want to lose a fight. And you especially don't want to lose a fight to someone that lives in a tree and makes cookies. So I had to hear that for years, how I got beat up by a midget. But then I ran into the guy, like, I guess it was like 10 years later. We ran into him someplace in Philadelphia, and he remembered me, and we started talking. And then he goes to me, and I forget what the thing that he does. The thing, it was like not jujitsu. It was I don't know, something
keto, like Steven Seagal.
He was from the Philippines, so whatever they do in the Philippines, whatever that.
A lot, I think it's called.
I think it's something like that. It turned out that he was like a grand master at that.
Oh, well,
and I love it because the bar had closed. Who's on Third had shut down, And I kept going to him. And I didn't know they shut down. And I was like, can you come with me to the bar? Now, this is like 12 years later. Can you come to me with the bar and tell everyone
can't live
that I
it
wasn't
down.
really beat up by a midget, that you're like a fucking kung fu master?
That's awesome.
So,
I mean, because I usually have a rule. Anybody that tells you they never lost a fight is either one of two things. They're either Rocky Marciano or they ain't never been in one. Because I've had a lot of fights and I won way more than I lost, but I lost a few. I hit a guy, and I started boxing when I was 12, just to give you an idea. I hit a guy with everything I had. This was a shot that I would have knocked out any normal human being. Okay, shook it off, looked at me, and I'm like, oh, crap. I don't know what he was taking, but his reaction was to just shake it off. It was right out of a movie.
Yep.
So me being me, because this guy was going to kill me, and this was in the days when they still had glass beer pitchers.
Yep. I
smashed a glass beer pitcher over his head. That knocked him down. But yeah, anyone says they never lost a fight has never been in a fight, or has never been in multitudes of fights, because I've lost many fights. I've said that. I've said that before, especially working in a bar, because you got people that are strung out on shit and you have no fucking clue. You hit them, nothing happens.
Whatever.
Nothing happens. They just keep coming, and it's like I don't have anything left to hit this guy with.
I still love this comment. I found it funny, the Burrito Supreme, and I think it's the only one that has sour cream. It was called the Monaco Lewinsky. You are 100% right.
That's
all right. So I don't know. I gotta have lunch, and I gotta get the kids in 35 minutes, and I always get in trouble for being late and forgetting to pick them up. You forget to pick up your kid once, and people
they call social services. No sense of humor.
For my son when he was very young, he was like in, I think, second grade. He had a half day, and I didn't realize he had a half day. So I get a call from the school saying, "Hey, your kid's here. We had a half day today. Did you not know this?" I said, "No, I did not know this." And we lived like less than a half mile from the school.
I was gonna say, if I said yes and you can have him, what would you say to me?
So I ran to get him. And there was all these kids in the office, because evidently this half day was not like an announced half day. It was like something they did for teacher in service or something. So a lot of people didn't know it. So I picked up the kid, and I picked up a couple of the kids, and I took them home. And I laughed, though, because to this day, and my one son is now 16, and this was like in first or second grade. If I am 4 minutes late or 2 minutes late to pick him up, he will get in the car and remind me of the time that I forgot about him in school in the first grade.
I never forget.
I was sitting there, and I thought to myself, well, he's just being a dick. No, he's just being my son. So
that's kind of be a reason.
That's what my wife says. There is a reason why. This is what's happening. There is a reason and a rationale why the apple doesn't.
I get a feeling your parents once or twice said to you, "God's going to get you. You're going to have a kid just like yourself."
Oh, my parents used to tell me I was adopted. My parents always tell you are adopted. You don't even go there. We don't know where my parents used to tell me all the time. We don't know where the fuck you came from. But I just, to this day, though, I mean, and it's not even that I'm late, because you got to get in the car lane, and normally I'm in the front of the car lane. So if I'm like too far back and he has to walk, he gets in the car and goes, "Remember when you left me in the first grade at school?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
and it could happen again.
Yeah,
real soon.
I do.
Open the door, sit down, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're here. You walked 5 feet to get to the car.
Nah, he's a big kid. He's a big kid. I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, great. I'll say it from. I can say it from here. I'm in New York.
I can say it from here, but
he can't reach me.
He's a big kid, so I'm just gonna. What did I do on X? What did I do now that I have 140 notifications?
I think we pissed everybody off because I think if I'm reading some of the chat where right supremacist, MAGA, right ring, fascist, whatever the hell we are.
All right, yeah. I'm just anytime I go on anytime I go on
somebody. Apparently.
So I go on X, and the next thing I know, I have like 140 notifications. So I must have did something.
Yeah, we're right wing, blah, 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 whatever. I explained why we are the way we are. If you don't like it, I really don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
As I used to say on the radio all the time, the people that hate me the most are the ones that listen to me the most.
Oh, I get that all the time.
Every freaking thing I did.
So much segment of people that hate me. It's like, oh, okay, you hate me. That's fine.
Love me, hate me.
Oh, I'm YouTube featured today. Ooh, bougie.
Love me, hate me, keep listening. Call me, tell me this, and I don't care.
Look, see, this is funny. See, I dropped subscribers. I dropped down. I was over 12,800 and something. Now I'm 12,795. Yes.
Jesus. All right. Well, that means we did something right.
Doesn't matter.
I said this many times. I used to get my PDs would get complaints about something I did. I said, "What do you complain about? Ratings are up. I mean, they're actually paying attention." Well,
no, but that's not the attention we want. Yeah, I get those speeches.
I said, "Well, you guys don't." I said, "You like it better. The rest of these shows are completely anonymous and nobody's listening." I said, "You like that better? Well, you can't. I'm the wrong guy. You'll have to fire me."
I dropped the boom and ran. I did. Will the Giants win 8 games? No, they're still going to win 7.
All right, so they'll win 7.
They're still going to win 7. Yes, the MAGA influence. The Giants are going to win 19 games this season. Even though it's a 17-game season, they're going to win 19 because Donald Trump's going to give them 3.
No, 20. They'll win the Super Bowl. They'll win 20.
No.
17-0 regular season, 3-0 playoffs.
No, they're going 19-0 regular season.
Wow, that would be really impressive in a 17-game season. If they could do that, man, that'd be incredible.
They're going 19-0, the New York Giants, right now.
In a 17-game season.
A 17-game season. Because they're the MAGA team. What the fuck is wrong? Not UT Prep, but what is wrong with people?
Will Joe still be GM if they have a bad season?
Yes, I think he will. It depends on how bad the season is because of the fact that you're also going to have to give partial blame to the head coach.
Right.
Because this head coach does have a stamp on this team.
It's a slippery slope. The theory of, well, Joe's just there to be the scapegoat. You see, you can't credit Harbs for everything they do right and then blame Joe for everything they do wrong. It just doesn't work like that.
Somebody asked about this yesterday.
Starberries.
I
have a ton of them.
I got a ton of them. And like I said, I told my story about buying sneakers at the Acme. So like I said, I take good care of all my shoes. And these shoes are from 2007.
Stephen Barry's, baby.
So, and I barely even wore down any of the tread, man, because people always ask, and I understand it's a psychological thing that I have to have a fulfillment of sneakers because of the fact that I didn't have any when I was a kid and I used to get shoes at the Acme. So now I have 1,000 different sneakers that I don't fucking wear. I mean, I still have Nick sneakers from Converse that still have the tags on them. I might wear them. I think I'm going to wear them, but yeah, Stephen Barry's, man. I got a bunch of these.
I got like that with clothes. I had clothes I had to donate because they went out of style and then tags never came off. Designer stuff. I said, man, you guys just stop buying shit for the sake of buying it.
If ownership asks Harbs about Joe's GM job, how much power does Joe have? Ownership?
I don't
know. Listen, I'm going to go by what was given to me last week. We've read it multitudes of times. I always love it because then all of a sudden we'll see this information in the paper in a day or two. And I love we said something. I can't remember what we said. Something was going to happen. And then someone sent me a clip from Pat Leonard's show, I guess, Talking Ball, which is also on the Bleav network. So I got to find some friends on the Bleav network real quick. But we literally said something. Then he goes, well, people are saying X. And he basically said verbatim what we said. And I laughed because some people in the chat were like, well, we know who the person that said that was. So right. We'll hear this information as a source by someone probably tomorrow. But which is fine. But
it's interesting. The power dynamic now is it because, initially when this collaboration was saying, I've made all the coffee boy jokes and picking up Dawn's and Harb's dry cleaning.
All right, we made that
Clearly, though those statements are inaccurate, he has more juice than that. How much, I don't know, and how much of his role there is actually in many ways being a stooge to the Maras, and helping provide them information that they want.
I still have a pair of Reebok pumps. They're still in the box. And to Mike Lee, you got Mike Lee stirring the fucking pot. Come find you. I don't need to come find you. You're a fucking idiot. Why do I need to come find you?
This guy's so mad. I
don't know. What do you she make blah 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 boy? What are you fucking mad?
I'm from Coney Island where Steph is, and you are not. No, I'm not. I admit that.
Steph who?
I interviewed Steph a bunch of times, but I'm not from Coney Island.
Who's Steph?
Marbury. We're talking about Starberries.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Why are you so mad?
I don't know what we did to upset this guy.
I'll
blame you. I don't know what you did to upset
it is my fault. I'll get to this one real quick, then I got to leave. You got Carl Banks now, but not Bob Papa. Yeah. Let me tell you about Bob Papa. We have twice now reached out to Mr. Papa. Twice. Through Bleav, not through me, not through a third party, not through a vendor, because Bob Papa is on Bleav with Carl Banks and Bleav in the Giants. Great show. I would listen to it if I listened to podcasts or watched YouTube, but I hear it's really good. And we have invited Bob on twice through Bleav. One time he was in a golf tournament in Hawaii, which I understand. I wouldn't want to talk to me if I was in Hawaii either. Hell, I wouldn't want to talk to me if I was down the fucking street. So I get that. And then the second time we invited him, which was just recently, he and according to Bleav, he politely declined. I don't know what that means, that he politely declined, or is that just Bleav's telling me that he just told you to go fuck off? I don't know.
Tim's too opinionated. I don't want to be associated with that.
Now, I used to have an impression that Bob didn't like me, and we've talked about this. And I'm going to give a couple examples because I made I asked a question at the town hall, and I got into a little bit with Bob a little bit, but Bob kept telling me, well, you and I got into battles in Twitter, and that time was 4 years ago because we haven't had a town hall in 3 years until this most recent one. And I wasn't even on Twitter. I wasn't even on X. And I kept trying to explain to Bob, that's not me. The person that you think I am that you're getting into a battle with is not me. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, he just doesn't know it's me in this. Then a couple weeks later, I go to the rookie symposium in the Giant facility, in the Giant offices. So I'm in the Giant cafeteria, and I'm drinking Ashawn Johnson's shake. Because it just had his name on it, but I was sitting there and I like green drinks. So I'm drinking the drink and I'm looking down the hallway and there's Bob Papa. Being the nice gentleman that I am, Bob. And now I was thinking he would be like, he would walk over, and he was probably like maybe 15, 20 feet away. Thought maybe he would walk over, thought maybe he would throw up a high. Didn't think he would throw up a middle finger or anything because I just think that's the way it is. He does one of these and then walks the other way. So I said, wow. So I'm saying, okay, maybe there's something that he doesn't like me. So Bob Papa and Carl Banks start their YouTube channel and do their first live together on Bleav. Carl Banks sends me a message saying, hey, do you want to come on and ask a question? And I'm sitting there in the chat, and I'm not trying to be a dick because I'm not trying to be, and I don't really say anything in the chat because I don't need everyone going, hey, Tim, OBB, all this shit. So I'm not really saying anything in the chat. So Carl goes, I want to hear from this guy. And because he's got great insight, he's got great opinions and all this. And he says, Tim from Online Big Blue. Bob goes, why? Now, I love it because this is one of the few times that an NFL player from the Giants, and this was like 2 years ago, ever said anything nice about me. And of course, this is the one time because it's new. Bleav doesn't record it, so I don't have the proof that. But then Carl Banks came on a couple times, so I didn't have the proof that that he said something nice. But I love the fact that Bob Hoffa goes, such a natural reaction. Why? So I was like,
I guess you guys won't be Christmas cards. Fair to say.
Maybe he doesn't like me. I don't know, but I'm just saying that.
This guy's funny. That Shaq Me Boyd, he's still going. So now I don't know whether it's you or me. One of us is more than welcome to come. More than welcome to come to Brooklyn. He was born there. I was in Brooklyn yesterday. I drove right past Coney Island to get to Bay Ridge. I was doing something for our veterans that paid the ultimate price. I was the MC of the 159th Brooklyn Memorial Day Parade, the oldest continuous Memorial Day parade in the United States. So I drove by. I missed you. I'm sorry. I'll be there next year if you want to find me, though.
That means you're a dick.
Yeah, but he can find me there next year, and, well, we'll see how it goes if he's looking for me.
I don't go to Brooklyn. It's too far.
For you, it is.
It's too far.
I usually don't go there either, but it's a great parade, a great cause, and great people. If he's looking for me, I will be there Memorial Day next year. I'll be the MC guy. You can't miss me.
Listen, I don't like going to Manhattan because it takes me 2.5 hours to get there.
Right.
So that's why
it'll take you about 4. The way you.
I gotta take a car to a train, and then I gotta do the reverse and
bus to a boat to a.
Well, to get to the Beacon Theater, I was dying. I had like 102 fever, and I literally had to take the car to the train to the subway to a cab. And it almost took me 3 hours to get there, to be there for 2 hours. And then to take my sick ass and go back on the fucking train.
That's good math.
True Jackson Dart jackass.
I
did, T-Brad, I did hit the link in the chat. I did. The link is in the chat. I don't know what's wrong with people.
He's a keyboard tough guy.
That's it.
Everybody's tough on the opposite side of a keyboard.
Everyone's tough till you get hit in the face.
Well, it's like you said when you were talking about that fight and the guy was coming over, his hands were shaking.
Yeah, and then he leaves and tells me what a nice guy I am.
Yeah, well, you are a nice guy.
He goes, "You are really a nice guy.
You take care of dogs. Anybody that takes care of dogs is aces in my book.
Dogs love me,
and dogs know.
That's why I always tell people, dogs know better than people. Because my wife, I laugh. She calls me Snow White, and I laugh. And I've told this story before that we will go for a walk. We'll just go walk in the neighborhood, and then she goes, "It's amazing that anytime you walk by a dog, the dog stops. Anytime there's a dog on the other side of the street, he is barking and pulling to come over to see you." We had this one dog that was it was a golden retriever, and it was ahead of us, and then we walked past it. We went down the end of the street and we walked back. The dog sat down, and the woman is trying to pull the dog. The dog was waiting for me to come back, and my wife goes, "You just need to go around going ho 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 ho," and that bird's flying around your head because you're fucking Snow White with these dogs. And I've told the story that my friend had these huge Rottweilers, and he had them in this big fence. Half his yard was fenced in, and he had the Rottweilers in there, and they were huge. And he went in the house to get a couple beers, so I go in the cage with the Rottweiler. Don't think anything of it. And he comes out, he throws the beers on the ground. He's screaming at me, "Get out of there! Get out of there! They're not friendly! Get out of there!" As I have one dog in a headlock giving it noogies. And he's looking at it like, "Oh my God." Because they're friendly.
That instantly makes me think of the last Karate Kid movie they did where they brought the girl in to take over for Daniel, and they go to a gas station, and it's a redneck gas station, and they got some vicious dog, and Miyagi. Next thing you know, Miyagi turned the dog into a lap dog, ruined the dog.
Yeah,
guys, like, you ruined my dog. And
we have one dog that we think is half wolf, and I love it because she didn't want anything to do with anyone because she was a rescue. That she wanted nothing to do with anyone. And then my wife goes, and she goes, and a short time later, she goes, "That dog won't leave you the fuck alone." She's like, "That dog is attached to your hip," and she's like, "We got the dog for our son, but somehow that dog is your dog." And then she goes, it's literally amazing what that dog can do.
Was you worried having a dog that wasn't 100% domestic, like the wolf hybrid? Because it's not 100% domesticated, right?
No, it's domesticated now.
No, well, yeah.
I'm
curious. I've never had a non-domesticated animal in the house.
No, it's fine. It's a dog. Yeah. It's the dog tendencies of the dog. It's a dog. I mean, the dog is a dog. I mean, she is so loving and so sweet. It was just the fact that she was abused at such a young age as a puppy, and they locked her in a closet and they did everything else. And I even told my wife when we were looking at her, I said, listen, she's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of work just to get her socialized. And but no, it didn't really take much effort to work at all. now we sit on the couch and we watch TV together. My wife cracks up because she only likes zombie movies and sports.
The dog.
Yeah.
I like that.
So the dog will literally sit there, and we were watching Overlord yesterday or the other day, and the dog is just sitting there, and my wife is like, she is literally watching the movie. And she goes, and every once in a while I crack up because I'm eating popcorn. So every once in a while I'm doing this, then I do this to the dog. So the dog is like,
I love it. Animals break down all barriers except with Shake Me Boyd, because according to him, threats and insults made me famous. Well, I think I get the feel.
Listen, I've been waiting for that other guy to show up. I've been waiting for this guy to show up.
Everybody's all mouth.
Threats made me famous. Then who are you, Shake? Shemake, whatever. Who are you?
Famous.
If you're famous, I would like to know, because I'd like to have famous people on the show.
Legend in his own mind. I gave him the invitation where he could find me 12 months from now. So let's see if he shows up.
No, but if he's famous, I'd love to have him on.
Sure, why not?
I'm literally going to skip my lunch and be late. I'm not going to be late because I have to leave here in 6 minutes. But I'm going to skip my lunch just because of the fact that I'm waiting for this famous person to come on.
But the good news, what we should let Shake Me Boyd know, when I go to that parade next year, I'm bringing WK2590's father, and I happen to know who the guy is, and you won't get to me because he'll take care of it.
The dog whisperer, dogs down by me are like that too. They either make it or try to make a beeline to me to get pet. Yeah, that's the thing. But I don't think any of these people are coming on. I want to go to Ludacris in Brooklyn. Okay.
Good restaurant, good Italian place.
Okay. I didn't know.
If it's the place I'm thinking of based on, guy's laughing. It's Shake Me Boyd.
Yeah, because he's famous. Yeah, maybe you know what? I think it was WK. Maybe he is.
I am McLovin.
I think this is a guy. Even at 50, by then I'll be 50. I'll be 58. I think even at that point, I can take care of this guy myself.
I love people. Why do people send me DMs? I mean, do they not know that I'm just going to read them online? Do they not know I'm just going to read them on the air?
I don't know what they know.
I mean, really, do they not just think I won't just read these? Because it's like
embarrassing. Who are we embarrassing now?
I don't know. Now I'm a racist pedophile. Oh, it's all right. People are just so a person is smart. People are stupid. That's always been my opinion. But now I'm swaying away from that opinion that most people are stupid now and most persons are stupid now. I love Pat Leonard, Jocks and Darts. Donald Trump misstep makes John Harbaugh's job a lot harder. Didn't the Harbaughs go to the White House and there's all these pictures like a week after he took the job?
Yeah.
I don't get
John's not worried about it.
John's not worried about it. Nobody's not worried about it. Nobody's worried about it. I mean, people just need to stop. And I love it because because the locker room hates Jackson Dart now. Remember that. The locker room hates Jackson Dart now.
Apparently they're going to hate the coach too. Yeah. But you don't have to like the coach. Just play
but I love it though, because Big Francis gifted today Jackson Dart an Old Miss Rebels jersey from, I guess they beat him in the Fiesta Bowl. So he gave him his Fiesta Bowl jersey. Oh my God. People just need to grow the fuck up. That's all. All right. Well, I guess Shemake is not coming on because he's famous. He's probably doing something that famous people
No,
do.
he's actually established this shit show is stupid. Stop talking shit. It's a shit show, but he won't leave.
He won't leave because
he won't come on and he won't leave.
Because he's got
you know what? I'm
I'm
gonna say it like this. Blow me.
He's got nowhere else to go.
Yeah, because if this is a shit show and you want to stop talking, you can come on and make us stop talking shit, or you could just take a walk. Otherwise,
Mr.
Blow me.
You know what the best part is, Mr. Boyd? Every time you watch, every minute you watch, every comment you leave, all you're doing is putting me in the analytics and making me money. So I will stay on. I will stay on as long as you want because I donate the money I make. So all you're doing is helping a charity. So you can say, so please make all the derogatory comments you want. Please keep watching because all it does is keep me in the analytics, keeps my view time high. Do it. It's all good. And I love it because of the fact that we know he's a fucking pussy. We know that he has no friends, and this is what he does because this is his life. And I feel bad for you. And I really do.
See, Love God 450. I love
you, God, man. Where you been? Where you been, Love God? I haven't seen you in a while. I love you, and I'm black. Well, I love you, and I'm a Taurus. Yeah. Love God, I had a feeling you were black. Because I love Joe Schoen. I love Joe Spano because Joe Spano made the astute observation once. And it was almost like it was a question. I don't know if you realize that a lot of your audience is black. It's like, no, I didn't notice that. I love it because the very first, James Williams, who was my brother, we met through the show. We met on the show, and we did. And I didn't do live streams back early on in the day because I just didn't have time. So I always just did faceless videos. And so I'd been doing the podcast for like a year, and I decided to do a live stream. And I remember I go on the live stream and I start talking to everyone. I'm going to start doing my thing. And I love it because of the fact that so many people in the chat wrote to me "You're not black." And I was like, no, I'm not. And then James texts me and he goes, I just assumed he goes, the way you know every verse to every rap or every rhyme, the way that you know everything about hip hop, the way you know everything about, black culture movies and this, he's like, and you talk about Trenton and all this, I just assumed you were black. And he's watching the show with a friend. And I love it because James goes to me because I'm watching the show and it's a Filipino. He's watching with a Filipino guy and I can't remember the guy's name, but I come on and James goes, my initial reaction to my friend is he ain't black. I was like, no, I'm not. Never said I was. Never tried to be. But.
And it all goes back to our original discussion. Our attitudes, our likes, it's colored by environment, so to speak, and how we're raised and where we're raised and what we're around and what we did. Because I'll be straight with you. I am the most stereotypical middle-aged white Long Islander that you're going to find in a lot of ways. My music taste, just a lot about me.
That's, I always crack up because anyone that knows me says the same thing. He goes, you're what I thought you were. And that, no, he's like, yeah, and I love it because it's someone got me a great shirt and it says, I love my family, motorcycles, guns, and 3 people. And it says, and maybe 3 people. And that's what everyone that knows me knows. I like to lift weights. I like to ride motorcycles. I like to shoot guns. I like muscle cars. And everyone says that just makes sense. And when I see you, that's what I see, and maybe that is the stereotype of me. Greg says the reason I watch you is because your attitude, keep it going. I always will. Your allowance doesn't count. He was talking about the other guy.
He says the other guy said let's make some money.
I saw that. It says, Tim, I love you, and I'm white as snow. I love this one from WK. Tim, you sound taller on radio.
He sounded taller on radio.
And yes, James did stereotype me because I forgot which rhyme it was, but I literally did entire. I think it was Tricky by Run DMC. It's tree to rock a rhyme. That's right on time. It's tricky. Huh. You got to do the whole thing because it just sticks in my head. Now I'm living in a shelter. You are living in a shelter, probably. Let's see. Mike Lee says it's just like the Larry Bird story when a coach is listening to the NCAA playoffs game and he hears Bird's names. The next day he grades a paper and shocked that Bird is white. Your family is dead. Well, I feel lucky. Your family's lucky. Let's see here. I'm a metalhead. Listen, I don't Jamie, whatever your name is. I don't want to break this news and tell you this. I'm an asshole, but I'm an equal opportunity asshole. And even if I say something and it says something like that, I don't care. I have this weird thing in my head where it just doesn't affect or phase me. That's like I have what they refer to as the stupid gene in my house. My son has it. That you could hit me as hard as you can in the face. It doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother. It just does. I have this high tolerance to pain, and we were hoping my son didn't get it. But of course, my son did get it. And we figured that out when he was 2, when he broke his foot. And then he started running on the broken foot. And the dog's like, your foot's broken. Why are you running? He goes, well, I'm a kid, T-Brad. What's up, T? I got to go get the kid.
Hey, I just jumped on real quick to just let everybody know if they were confused. I am black.
Oh, shit. You know what?
Just in case anybody wanted to know. I actually am black. Both my parents black.
Listen,
I got a lot of black friends.
Listen, I've hung out.
I'm supposed to say that.
I've hung out with you. I've gone places with you, gone out with you and the wife, had our wives together, and you're just fucking telling me this now?
Well, I don't want anybody to get any, preconceived notions that
I am stunned.
Yep.
Right now that you're telling me you're black.
And I cannot be racist because I grew up with a black and white TV. Didn't even have color. Black and white. Can't be racist. But I don't run away from the racial conversation, and I think
we never do.
I think people today are way too sensitive about just having a conversation about what happened and where we should move forward and where it might have went wrong. I think if we do that, we can get more respect for each other and we can start working together with each other. I mean, whether you're liberal or conservative, I don't even like the term for either because you can't be 100% of anything unless you're an idiot. If you're 100% one way or the other, you're probably an idiot.
And there are a lot of 100% idiots.
Yeah, and I don't care which way you go. But I think, getting past those barriers and getting to the main part of it, which is everybody wants this country to be fruitful, to produce, to have great jobs, to have safe neighborhoods and good education and a low cost. But we all agree on the journey we should be taking, but we just disagree on the driver. That's really all it is. We just disagree on who should be driving the car.
Say that's a good thing. We disagree on the driver and we disagree on the route.
Exactly. And when we figure out the human experience, because as people say, I'm a conservative, I'm this, I grew up liberal, 100% Democrat. Then I grew up a little bit more and said, well, I like guns, so I can't be 100% Democrat. So it's like everybody's only voting for 2 or 3 things that they're very passionate on, whether it be workers' rights, that's my big one. If it's, women's right to reproduce and what's that called? Right.
Wait. Let's not get crazy and go that women should be able to vote. Let's not go off the fucking deep end.
I believe they could. And you know what? Speaking about
you can't be serious with this guy.
No, I'm like that though. So he's But I'll say
It's
this.
tea, man. It's tea. I get.
I'll say this to put the black experience right in everybody's face. This is good, so listen to it very carefully. My great grandparents, I've done my family tree. We go all the way back to Native Americans. All right. So I cannot give you where they got off on a boat, some of them, but we go all the way down south. When you ask a black person for their history, where they're from, most of them are going to say down south. That's where it started. But when you look at voting, as we were talking about voting and everything that relates to voting, right? Understand this: with my great grandparents being here, born here in the 1800s, and even going further back than that, I myself and my entire generation, meaning all my cousins, are the first generation born with the right to vote. My mother was born in 53. She was not born with the right to vote, especially being a woman. And when you look at that and you ask why things aren't the way they should be in certain communities, just realize we just started voting. We just started voting. So it's and I mean, when you look at the power of that, being in a community and having no voice, especially down south when there were so many black people to white people, especially in South Carolina specifically. When you take, that's why gerrymandering is so big. But I think as people, we have to get rid of the elephant and the donkey and just have real human experiences. Start talking to fucking people,
But
and
to
you get where you need to go.
your point, though, and I don't want to get political about this, but during the Voting Right Act,
Yes.
during that period of time, what was the party that was 100% against allowing women and African Americans to vote?
That was the Democrats, and that was before. But that was before the party switched, though. The party's definitely.
But this is the point that I was getting to.
Yeah.
The party has then since shifted.
Yes.
To the other side, to the fact now that certain Democrats just want everyone to have the right to vote. You don't have to be a citizen. There are a large portion of Democrats that are like, it doesn't even matter if you weren't born here. It doesn't matter if you're not a citizen here. You should have, which is against the Constitution. You should have the ability to vote in presidential elections. But it's like anything else. To your point, the pendulum has shifted so many different ways. But at the end of the day, kind of, I don't want to speak for you, but at the end of the day, it's like, to your point, everyone wants to get to the same place. It's just sometimes it takes us different ways to get there, and sometimes
I should say all sane, rational, non-racist people want to get to the same point.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were just talking about how, they thought this was great, and this was all messed up, and I forget what they were talking about specifically, and I was like, well, that person did what you didn't like. They said, yeah, they thought this was going to be great, and this is really great. I said, now what you see is the idea of great means two different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The idea of great means two different things. Like, people were upset when that racist dude was like, yo, I'm going to put together an all-white community. And I'm like, and people were upset. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if he wants to have an all-white community. Just don't kill me if I get through that community doing work. Don't kill me. Don't attack me. You can have, I don't, any person of any race or gender, I don't have any problem with you funding your own neighborhoods to run the way you want. But just don't attack me because you're around all your friends. When the sun goes down, now I can't drive through. Those are things we got to address. And if we crack down harder on racial issues, certain people wouldn't pop up just creating racial issues. Like that one idiot just runs around bombing everybody. He just got arrested. I don't want to say his name because I don't want to give that person any light. Right. But those type of things as a society, we should be long beyond. Like we talk about America being the greatest country. Most people say that have never left this country. I've left this country plenty of times, and there were other countries I've been to. Like, I can live here. This is great. I can live here. But again, we as Americans, we don't all agree on what is great. What is great? Like, some people see DEI as bad. I think it's great. It kind of levels the playing field. But can it go too far? Of course it can. I don't believe if testing is the authority to get a job, that the lower test should get in. Not if testing is the primary function of you getting a job. I don't think DEI should work that way. But when you have things like, if you look in the NFL, even the Rooney Rule doesn't work how you want it to work.
No.
There are a whole lot of white coaches failing forward. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, guys, not that I don't want to continue this conversation. I'm already late.
Yeah, you got work to do. I got to call at 3. Don't worry about it.
I got to pick up the kid. I don't have work to do.
I'm going to say this as he wraps it up. Great stuff, and I'm on to share this live with you, my man.
Well,
all right, man.
I appreciate it, and the only thing I will say, T, is next time you're going to tell someone you're black, don't wait so long.
I thought you
were Sicilian personally, because I'm of Sicilian descent, so I thought you were Sicilian personally.
I've never been to northern. No, that's southern Italy. I'm
southern Italy.
Well, see, I didn't know about the gun thing. I mean, we got to go, man. I literally have enough firepower in this house to invade Canada.
I'm down.
I always try to get James to go with me. I mean, I
got enough for a zombie invasion. I got enough for a good zombie invasion. I'm good. I'm good for a little while, but I got to make moves.
I'm gonna tell you right now, just Rock Island, semi-automatic, banana clip, 30-round shotgun. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, you ready?
I got that. And you want to talk about you want to talk about something fun? We got to go shoot.
I live in Jersey, so the gun magazine capacity is a big thing in Jersey.
Oh yeah, you're lucky you get around in a magazine there. All right, guys, I really do have to go because I am super duper late. But Giants live, racism bad, T-Brad's black, Joe's white. I get red because I'm second generation Irish, so we're not good with the sun here. Yeah, I think that about sums up the day. So I'm glad everyone that hung out for as long as they did. This is Tim, this New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by the online Big Blue and the mighty FanDuel. And I forgot to do the FanDuel commercial, so I'm going to get in trouble for that. But you know what? It's just another day, and we're out of here.
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.